Yeah. I am Jacadero, proudly filling in.
Power on.
Excuse me. Proudly filling in.
Bluetooth connected.
Proudly filling in for Brother Koku here on Shoot the Breeze, episode 247. Imagine you get a Saturday night with me, Jacadero. Yeah. Once again, I am Jacadero, proudly filling in for Brother Koku here on Shoot the Breeze, episode 247. My goodness gracious, my gosh, huh? On tonight's episode, man, we got some bangers, huh? We're talking about Jay-Z. We're also talking about the temporary protected status for Haitian immigrants. We're also talking about AI. And then we're also talking about menstrual cycles. Believe it or not. Yes. Huh? Talking about all that and more. But before we continue to go forward, I mean, this whole bitter medicine is part of a team, huh? So if you're not familiar, let's have you get familiar. Come on.
You are listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAZ Radio. Welcome to the Bitter Medicine Podcast, where it's all about Black empowerment. Our show focuses on Black news and entertainment, arts, science, economics, history, people, and strategies that uplift, empower, and motivate Africans within the diaspora. And now your host, whose favorite color is black, Goku.
Welcome back to the Bitter Medicine Podcast. I am your host, Koku. Just want to remind you guys before we get the show rolling that this show is part of a podcast network called KWAZ Radio. There are other shows on the network you are invited to tune into.
This is D Webb with the Harsh Reality Podcast, asking you to tune in where we tackle the news of the day that affects our community, only on KWAZ Radio.
Peace, family. This is Oni, inviting you to listen to the Pro-Black Perspective, where Black problems are addressed with Black solutions.
Greetings, fam. Tune in to The Learning Curve with me, the Revolutionary Matron on KWAZ Radio.
You are listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAZ Radio.
Woo! You are listening to the KWAZ pod. Hey, you like that, huh? You like that? I am Jacadero, proudly filling in for Brother Koku here on Shoot the Breeze, episode 247 on the Bitter Medicine Podcast. Hit the like button if you haven't already. What are you waiting for? Omera, skiza vizuri. Can you hit the like button? Come on, don't you want like-minded individuals to know the information? Huh? What's wrong with you? Or do you want to be selfish? Come on, you're an African people, and as our African people, you're not selfish. So what is not happening, Omera? Hit the like button. Come on, what's wrong with you? Huh? Come on. Also, we have a Discord. Yes. We have a Discord. Imagine. So there's a purple app, both for Android and iPhone. Don't worry. Oh, Jacadero, I only have a Samsung Galaxy. No, shut up. It's for Android and iPhone. Purple app. It's called Discord. DISCORD. Go ahead and download that and then look up the Bitter Medicine Podcast. That way you can get involved, not just on Saturday nights. Imagine you thinking, Jacadero, I only got time for Saturdays. Hey, cut it out. 25 hours a day, 8 days a week. No, Jacadero isn't at 24. Shut up. Shut up. Go ahead, download the Discord, the Bitter Medicine Podcast, once you get the Discord, and that way you can get involved in the conversation each and every day. Each and every day. Like-minded Pan-African nationalist individuals just like yourself. So hit the like button and then download the Discord if you haven't. And that way you can get in touch. Also, I mean, you can share the topics that we will have each and every Saturday. Imagine. It's not an authoritarian regime. It's not a totalitarian regime. No. Come on. No, we are African peoples, and as African peoples, we're communal. So we share with the community. It's the community. Yeah. So hit the like button and then download Discord and join us on the Bitter Medicine Podcast. With that being said, once again, I'm Jacadero if you're just joining in, and this is Shoot the Breeze, episode 247. If you want to be a panelist on tonight's episode, go ahead and click on the StreamYard link that's pinned to the top of the chat. Do you see it? In case you don't see it, there it is. You see it on your screen? Do you see it? Yes. Use your eyes. Yes. Come on, yes, I gave you eyes. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go into our first Shoot the Breeze topic, Shoot the Breeze topic number 1. Ask thoughts? Yes, thoughts. So we're going to ask your thoughts on what's being said in this video. We might play it twice, just because we want people to get the message 2 times. So it takes us to Facebook, where an Asian man is talking about something that maybe you probably didn't take into consideration. Once again, I'm Jacadero, proudly filling in for Brother Koku on Shoot the Breeze, episode 247. Let's take a listen. Stand by.
Since I grew up there, I feel obligated to have a few words. So basically, a lot of people in China were filming themselves torturing these dolls that have dark skin. Not just any dolls, but specifically dolls with dark skin, which apparently sends a racist and sadistic message. It really pains me to talk about this. Maybe I could say something like not all Chinese, but it wouldn't mean much, because statistically, the Chinese population, including the immigrants outside China, are still, in general, pretty racist. There's no way to sugarcoat it. They just are. So I want to talk a little about why, especially since most people in China never had a chance to see a black or brown person up close. Where does this behavior come from? First, I want to say, just as in any country, racism is always highly correlated with ignorance. You need to understand, contrary to what many people may have told you, most parts of China are still highly undereducated. Pile on me if you want, but it's true. I mean, their education is okay in terms of math and science, but when it comes to humanities and social sciences, it's like non-existent. Maybe some top universities have some decent programs, but high schools and local colleges are basically in the Stone Age. There's no empirical political science at all. No sociology, no human geography, maybe some geography, but not human geo. There's history, but the content is highly selective. Almost everything in the history textbooks has something to do with glorifying the Chinese Communist Party, not much else. Literature, well, barely. The reading assignments in high schools are very boring, except maybe a few ancient pieces, and very few translated articles from other countries. So basically, students are not supposed to understand people and societies. They're trained about everything else, but not human beings. Because this way, the ruling party has an easier time telling them what to do. And that ignorance also infected the Chinese immigrants in other countries because they are mostly STEM majors. They not only don't know social sciences, they kind of look down on social sciences. Some of them think political science is pseudoscience because, the data are not as neat as in a chemistry experiment. Well, that'd be another topic. But basically, ignorance in how the human world works is always a big risk factor for racism. The second explanation, the cult of money in China affects the psychology toward race. I mean, of course, Americans love money too, but compared to how much Chinese love money, you guys are like amateurs. China literally has a god called Caishen, which means god of money. I don't know any such god in other cultures, but Caishen is a big deal in China. It's actually worshipped by Chinese of different beliefs, like Buddhists, Taoists, and some other local paganists, even atheists. They all sort of worship the god of money. This money cult was especially explosive in the last half century because China was in this transition from the Maoist version of hungry communism to a net-breaking extreme of capitalism. So 2 generations of Chinese were basically rediscovering economic competition, and they just went crazy. There's not a family or friend gathering in China where people don't talk about money. So of course, race is also incorporated into that monetary value system. White people have more money, so they must be a higher race. About 20 years ago, my wife was having a business lunch with some white guys in Shanghai. And guess what? The receptionist of the restaurant tried to stop her from entering. He just basically asserted himself between the white guys and my wife and blocked her. She had no idea what was going on. Maybe the guy thought she was pretending to be a part of the group, or maybe he thought she was trying to hit on one of the white guys. But either way, you are not their bodyguards. Why do you care? Before she could figure out what happened, one of the white guys turned back and shouted at the receptionist and made him back off. You know, like a tough colonizer in those movies. Pretty funny. And of course, that money-based racism affects Chinese people's attitude toward Black people. They use race as a proxy to decide who can be a source of revenue. A lot of Chinese disrespect Black people because they don't see a swell pocket. You can see this in the United States too, right? Even the most racist motherfuckers would pretend to be polite in front of rich Black people, right? I bet you'll see a lot of crazy Chinese fans too if some NBA teams visit China. So part of racism is really just classism. Okay, my third point. Some of these racist video trends may have been the Chinese government's strategy. I don't have any evidence, but I know for sure that the CCP wants Chinese immigrants to be hated in America. Why? If they're hated, they'll feel more vulnerable and be more loyal to the motherland. They'll either go back or maybe help China achieve some policy goals in the US. So there's a very real possibility that the Chinese censors intentionally let those trends slip through their fingers to sow discord between Chinese immigrants and African Americans. You know, the censorship in China is highly effective. With both AI and a massive team of online police, I just can't imagine anything the government doesn't like can become a trend. So on one hand, it's a reflection of organic racism. But on the other hand, it could also be assisted by a centralized algorithm. And of course, making Chinese Americans and African Americans hostile to each other will also help Trump. And China definitely wants Trump in power because China's foreign trade literally exploded under Trump's trade policy, as America is dumping its traditional partners. So China probably wants Trump to declare martial law and rule forever, you know? So of course, one way to make it happen is to make Chinese immigrants unable to stay in the liberal tent. Again, I can't prove it, but it's very hard to find alternative explanations for the censorship malfunctioning in the Dao case. Okay, the last point. Contrary to what you may have seen on Xiaohongshu, the Chinese population is deeply, deeply unhappy. And unhappy people tend to be racist, as you can probably see in the MAGA crowd. Unhappy people are desperate to vent on someone. Chinese people can't vent on the government because they don't want to go to jail. And they can't vent on white people either because it may cause diplomatic incidents and their accounts may get banned. So what do? They look for a target that will not get them in trouble. You might ask, why are Chinese people unhappy with all this booming economy? Well, I talked about it many times before, so I just repeat it very briefly. So one thing is the fierce competition. Most Chinese high schools don't release the kids until 10 p.m. How can you develop a happy personality with an adolescence like that? And competitiveness is partly a result of inequality. The pay gap between good jobs and bad jobs is just too crazy. Why do you think food delivery is so cheap in China? They pay the delivery man like nothing. I saw an American TikToker saying that her delivery man started crying just because she accidentally reported a late meal. Life is fucking hard there, guys. I talk about the hukou system. Google it. How 50 million children have to live away from their parents due to the public school enrollment policy against migrant workers. Look it up. And of course, the censorship. The absolute scarcity of good movies and good pop music due to censorship. I know you guys probably have a lot of complaint about America's streaming services. I do too. But imagine if they remove all the shows and movies that reflect societal ills and government corruption, and then remove all the LGBT content, all the childhood rebellions, all the shows about protests, labor disputes, women's rights, just all gone. How would you feel? That's the state of entertainment the Chinese people are living in, regardless of the GDP growth. So there's a shortage of stimulations, and those psychopathic black doll torturing videos are part of their desperate attempt at finding stimulations, the only type of stimulations that are still allowed. It's not an excuse, of course, but it's a psychological reality in a suffocating environment, just like some deep South American communities that are still dominated by religious doctrines. Of course, they're going to have issues. It's not economic anxiety. It's just regular anxiety. Anyway, that was my 2 cents. America has been driving me crazy every day in the past 10 years, but I'm still glad I got out of China. I wouldn't have survived in that place. Someone told me about this very disturbing TikTok trend in China. It feels painful to even describe it, but since I grew up there, I feel obligated to have a few words. So basically, a lot of people in China were filming themselves torturing these dolls that have dark skin. Not just any dolls, but specifically dolls with dark skin, which apparently sends a racist and sadistic message. It really pains me to talk about this. Maybe I could say something like not all Chinese, but it wouldn't mean much, because statistically, the Chinese population, including the immigrants outside China, are still, in general, pretty racist. There's no way to sugarcoat it. They just are. So I want to talk a little about why, especially since most people in China never had a chance to see a black or brown person up close. Where does this behavior come from? First, I want to say, just as in any country, racism is always highly correlated with ignorance. You need to understand, contrary to what many people may have told you, most parts of China are still highly undereducated. Pile on me if you want, but it's true. I mean, their education is okay in terms of math and science, but when it comes to humanities and social sciences, it's like non-existent. Maybe some top universities have some decent programs, but high schools and local colleges are basically in the Stone Age. There's no empirical political science at all. No sociology, no human geography, maybe some geography, but not human geo. There's history, but the content is highly selective. Almost everything in the history textbooks has something to do with glorifying the Chinese Communist Party, not much else. Literature, well, barely. The reading assignments in high schools are very boring, except maybe a few ancient pieces, and very few translated articles from other countries. So basically, students are not supposed to understand people and societies. They're trained about everything else, but not human beings. Because this way, the ruling party has an easier time telling them what to do. And that ignorance also infected the Chinese immigrants in other countries because they are mostly STEM majors. They not only don't know social sciences, they kind of look down on social sciences. Some of them think political science is pseudoscience because the data are not as neat as in a chemistry experiment. Well, that'd be another topic. But basically, ignorance in how the human world works is always a big risk factor for racism. The second explanation, the cult of money in China affects the psychology toward race. I mean, of course, Americans love money too, but compared to how much Chinese love money, you guys are like amateurs. China literally has a god called Caishen, which means god of money. I don't know any such god in other cultures, but Caishen is a big deal in China. It's actually worshipped by Chinese of different beliefs, like Buddhists, Taoists, and some other local paganists, even atheists. They all sort of worship the god of money. This money cult was especially explosive in the last half century because China was in this transition from the Maoist version of hungry communism to a net-breaking extreme of capitalism. So 2 generations of Chinese were basically rediscovering economic competition, and they just went crazy. There's not a family or friend gathering in China where people don't talk about money. So of course, race is also incorporated into that monetary value system. White people have more money, so they must be a higher race. About 20 years ago, my wife was having a business lunch with some white guys in Shanghai. And guess what? The receptionist of the restaurant tried to stop her from entering. He just basically asserted himself between the white guys and my wife and blocked her. She had no idea what was going on. Maybe the guy thought she was pretending to be a part of the group, or maybe he thought she was trying to hit on one of the white guys. But either way, you are not their bodyguards. Why do you care? Before she could figure out what happened, one of the white guys turned back and shouted at the receptionist and made him back off. Like a tough colonizer in those movies. Pretty funny. And of course, that money-based racism affects Chinese people's attitude toward Black people. They use race as a proxy to decide who can be a source of revenue. A lot of Chinese disrespect Black people because they don't see a swell pocket. You can see this in the United States too, right? Even the most racist motherfuckers would pretend to be polite in front of rich Black people, right? I bet you'll see a lot of crazy Chinese fans too if some NBA teams visit China. So part of racism is really just classism. Okay, my third point. Some of these racist video trends may have been the Chinese government's strategy. I don't have any evidence, but I know for sure that the CCP wants Chinese immigrants to be hated in America. Why? If they're hated, they'll feel more vulnerable and be more loyal to the motherland. They'll either go back or maybe help China achieve some policy goals in the US. So there's a very real possibility that the Chinese censors intentionally let those trends slip through their fingers to sow discord between Chinese immigrants and African Americans. The censorship in China is highly effective. With both AI and a massive team of online police, I just can't imagine anything the government doesn't like can become a trend. So on one hand, it's a reflection of organic racism. But on the other hand, it could also be assisted by a centralized algorithm. And of course, making Chinese Americans and African Americans hostile to each other will also help Trump. And China definitely wants Trump in power because China's foreign trade literally exploded under Trump's trade policy. as America is dumping its traditional partners. So China probably wants Trump to declare martial law and rule forever, you know? So, of course, one way to make it happen is to make Chinese immigrants unable to stay in the liberal tent. Again, I can't prove it, but it's very hard to find alternative explanations for the censorship malfunctioning in the Dao case. Okay, the last point. Contrary to what you may have seen on Xiaohongshu, the Chinese population is deeply, deeply unhappy. And unhappy people tend to be racist, as you can probably see in the MAGA crowd. Unhappy people are desperate to vent on someone. Chinese people can't vent on the government because they don't want to go to jail, and they can't vent on white people either because it may cause diplomatic incidents and their accounts may get banned. So what do? They look for a target that will not get them in trouble. You might ask, why are Chinese people unhappy with all this booming economy? Well, I talked about it many times before, so I just repeat it very briefly. So one thing is the fierce competition. Most Chinese high schools don't release the kids until 10 p.m. How can you develop a happy personality with an adolescence like that? And competitiveness is partly a result of inequality. The pay gap between good jobs and bad jobs is just too crazy. Why do you think food delivery is so cheap in China? They pay the delivery man like nothing. I saw an American TikToker saying that her delivery man started crying just because she accidentally reported a late meal. Life is fucking hard there, guys. I talk about the hukou system, Google it. How 50 million children have to live away from their parents due to the public school enrollment policy against migrant workers. Look it up. And of course, the censorship. The absolute scarcity of good movies and good pop music due to censorship. I know you guys probably have a lot of complaint about America's streaming services. I do too. But imagine if they remove all the shows and movies that reflect societal ills and government corruption, and then remove all the LGBT content, all the childhood rebellions, all the shows about protests, labor disputes, women's rights, just all gone. How would you feel? That's the state of entertainment the Chinese people are living in, regardless of the GDP growth. So there's a shortage of stimulations, and those psychopathic black doll torturing videos are part of their desperate attempt at finding stimulations, the only type of stimulations that are still allowed. It's not an excuse, of course, but it's a psychological reality in a suffocating environment, just like some deep South American communities that are still dominated by religious doctrines. Of course, they're going to have issues. It's not economic anxiety. It's just regular anxiety. Anyway, that was my 2 cents. America has been driving me crazy every day in the past 10 years, but I'm still glad I got out of China. I wouldn't have survived in that place. Mm-hmm.
I am Jackadero, proudly filling in for Brother Koku here on Shoot the Breeze episode 247. This is the Bitter Medicine Podcast. Hit the like button if you have not already. Hit the like button. Also join us on the Discord and download the purple app. It's a purple app. You cannot miss it. Oh man, open your eyes. I'm a blessing in disguise. All jokes aside, let's get into the chat before we move forward. Lord of Slaughter says RBG. Lord of Slaughter, what's going on, big dog? You can accomplish what you will, man. What's up? What up? Brother Bakari says, peace and Black African power, Black African family. Peace to you, Brother Bakari. Peace to you. Koku 911, peace. Koku. Trigger Happy is in the chat. What's going on, Trigger Happy? What's popping, my guy? He says, communists can be like rednecks, essentially. I love banter. I love it. I don't think you guys understand it. Trigger Happy also adds, I find it interesting the dilemma of a China's form of transitioning to communism still produces a value of money of humanity at times based in this video. And then Koku 911 adds, so the Chinese are still punks. Yeah. I think that's what Cian means. You let me know, Koku 911. All right. Also, we have super chat. So if you want to go ahead and give your super chat, it's welcome. It's welcome. That way, just like this Chinaman is saying, I'll be a lot happier. Yeah, maybe the boss might give me a little bit something so I can afford maybe some sambusa and some Kenyan tea. Come on, huh? Also, the Bitter Medicine is on TikTok as well. So come on now, huh? We're everywhere. Speaking of being everywhere, I got my guys with me, and they're everywhere as well, man. We got Black Steel and Bakari, but first, let's get the thoughts from Brother Bakari. Brother Bakari, welcome to the show. What's going on? How are you? And then Shoot the Breeze episode, Shoot the Breeze topic number 1 asks, thoughts based on what you heard, what you've seen. What are your thoughts?
It's what I always said about China. Shit, they are allies with white folk. That's why, and I'm one of the few who wasn't ashamed to say it. That's why I would always say, as much as I respect Kwame, Ibrahim Traore over in Burkina Faso, you have to be careful who you tying your hands with. I'm gonna tell you something, man. I don't do TikTok because on TikTok you can't even say white people, but you can use the N-word. These people, that's why I don't deal with it, because I don't take nobody's disrespect. Not like that, right? So in what he was saying, and they basically bow down to white folks. They are allies with white folks. It's a conversation that me and Koku had, where everybody's cheering on China and Russia. Something me and Koku had a conversation about is, we said we honestly believe that Trump want to run all the Americas, the lunatic in office. They want China to control Asia, Russia to control Europe, and then they're going to divide up Africa. And we still have African nations running to China, talking about helping China. Now, over here in America, I honestly believe Chinese people being your ally come from the Black Panther Party, in all honesty. They loved Asian people and thought they really looked up to the Asian, and they spread a lot of Asian propaganda. And here in 2026, if we just open our eyes and sit back and think, and we'll realize, like, man, these people are not thinking about us. We are all we got. So when he say they are racist based on money and all of that, okay. They think white people is something special, something more because they have more money. Okay. But then they can come and look down on us. But then somebody have to die. Somebody have to get off for murdering a black dude. And then we can say boycott. I'm the one who been saying, let's do a lifestyle change. Stop giving these people your money. Get them out your neighborhood. You can't go to Chinatown and open a business. They wouldn't come to you for nothing. So sometimes, like, Chinese people, they are who they are. And black people, we have to change who we are. We have to change our mindset about ourselves if we want, because we are in a war, and a lot of us don't understand it. And it's us it's black people versus the world, and that's just a fact. And I yield the mic.
Hey, I appreciate it, Brother Bakari, man. Hey, he said it. He said, hey, we suck up to white folks because they got the money, and we have a God that is a God of money. I don't know if he was being facetious in that, but if that's true, it explains a lot. In the chat, Anthony says, Jacadero Habaragani, brother. Simbaya, man, says Simbaya. Lakini tupo sites. Nakwambia. He says, I'll be up. Gotta make a store run, man. Grab me something, man. I need some hookah coals. I'm out of hookah coals. I love my hookah. If anybody knows, Jacadero, I love my hookah. Grab me some hookah coals, Anthony. Grab me some hookah coals, man. I got the flavor, but grab me some hookah cones. Speaking of up the stove, from up the block, we got Black Steel. Black Steel, welcome to the show. How are you? Hope everything is well. And then, based on what you've seen, based on what you heard, what are your thoughts, my guy?
I'm doing well. Just a reminder, Jack and Darrell, that the term Chinaman is considered to be a slur. Just a reminder. We tend to frown upon the term Chinaman, I thought it was, you know what? I first of all, I'm a little skeptical. Not to say he grew up in China, right? He sounds like he was a defector, right? He defected from China and came to live in the United States. So I take what he has to say with somewhat of a grain of salt, right? But I will say this, right? I think he did bring us interesting points. Number one, about the lack of Black people in China, right? Seeing a Black person in China must be pretty rare unless you're outside of the main cities, right? They tend to be a very inward-looking culture. Historically speaking, China was usually at many points in history the most advanced nation on earth, right? They called themselves the Middle Kingdom, and everybody outside of their realm was considered to be barbarians, right? So I think the Chinese have a very high opinion of themselves, especially dealing with their century of humiliation, coming out of it, and now they're the world's fastest growing economy, probably soon to be the world's largest economy within the next couple of years. So I think his point about ignorance, especially from Chinese people in China, I think that's a very good point because many of them don't know or don't have any interactions with Black people. That's one thing, but that's still no excuse for them to for the Natasha doll, right? The idea that Black people are human should not be something that needs to be taught to people. He's saying their education is usually on STEM and technology, not in understanding people, not social studies, things like that, things like humanism, learning to relate to other cultures. Okay, I'm not Chinese. I certainly understand that. I don't think that we should look toward China as any type of savior. I don't think that that's the role they want. They don't want to be almost like, previously the role the Soviet Union played. The Soviet Union played the role as an alternative to the United States, right? I don't think China's really interested in that. China is focused on building up China, protecting and supporting their people. Because I got to be honest with you, if you look at the state of education and things like that, the Chinese already won, right? They just really got to sit back and just chill out and let America destroy itself. He talked about TikTok and whatnot. The Chinese have a very different TikTok for their young people. And our young people look at dances and other stuff like that. The Chinese people are looking at math and science and museums and things like that. So educationally, they're already ahead. They don't really feel the need to be in competition with the U.S. because all they got to do is sit back and let America destroy themselves. Never interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake. And that's how the Chinese look at it. So their role as far as international, is to get the best deals possible, get the resources they need. I do believe that many people feel the Chinese are much more fair and even-handed in their dealings with other nations as opposed to the Europeans, and I'll let them speak to that. But I do, again, his commentary is interesting. But again, I don't really feel that Black people need to look for help, outside help. We are capable of doing what we need to do for our people. If you're going to deal with another nation, right, deal with them fairly, but don't lose your sovereignty. Don't lose your self-respect. Don't feel these people need to come into your country, have to take advantage of your people, right? If you're going to deal with us fairly. Deal with us from a position of equals. And I think that's part of the problem. They don't see African people as equal. So if you're going to do business in our country, you got to respect our laws, respect our people. And I think that part is missing. I think that because Black people are basically seen as the underdogs, they look down on us. And I think that unfortunately is a reality for many powerless people. When you don't have the power to protect your nation, protect your people, people look down on you. And I think that's kind of what what we're seeing in this situation, which Black people have to get power, have to organize our society and build up Africa. As long as you can disrespect Africa, you can disrespect any Black person in the world. And I think that is the challenge for the African continent. So I'll leave it there. Thank you.
I appreciate it, Black Steel. Yeah, man, something to think about. I like what you said. Black people being human shouldn't be even a conversation. Not those words, but it's interesting. Oftentimes you see majority white people going into African villages and just greeted, greeted well. Let me say that, greeted well in remote African villages versus, there's a guy that I watch on social media. I believe he's Ghanaian and he lives in China. And over the years, he's learned, I believe, Mandarin, maybe Cantonese, but just a Chinese language. And he just documents himself interacting with Chinese locals. And they say the most obscene shit. Excuse my French here, but, like, hey, it's oftentimes people will touch his skin to see if it's not paint or I don't know what they're thinking. But it's like, why? I get it. We are the most kind people, blah, blah, blah. But like, you mean to tell me that this is something that I've struggled with since a teenager? You mean to tell me that, white people need to go and backpack in Europe, backpack in Asia to learn humanity, to be cultured, but like Black people can just be around themselves the entire time and we know how to be cordial with people? Come on, this is ridiculous. So, hearing him talk about that, how, the whole Black Dolls thing is just a way to, I don't know I forgot how he put it, but basically them beating up those Black dolls was their way of, because they don't really have a social life. That's a terrible excuse. Terrible excuse. Terrible. And it says a lot about, like, so what, because he said, hey, the Chinese don't get upset with white people because they don't want to ruin relations. But would they do those things to the white dolls? Probably not. Anthony says, Wodemaya. It's not Wodemaya. It's another Ghanaian social media head. And he just, if I knew his name, I'd pull him up. But yes, oftentimes it's people either amazed that he knows whatever Chinese language. And then again, it's often that people will try to touch his skin or try to touch his hair and see if it's real. What kind of shit is that? Like, what kind of shit is that? Like, come on. It's ridiculous. But Brother Bakari, if you're still in the chat, I wanted to ask if you're still in the panel. Okay, he says that, their God is money. When, not if, when we get an African superpower and are economically toe-to-toe with the likes of China, South Korea, these Asian countries that could give a shit less about Black people. Is it that? Because I again, maybe I'm just a pessimist in this context, but is it going to be that's going to take all the Chinese people to say, you know what? Hey, these people are human beings. We can't take our aggression out because now they have Nigeria or Burkina Faso or I don't. You let me know, Bakari. I don't know.
I don't give a damn what they say. How do we see ourselves? I don't give a damn what they say, how they feel about me. See, I think even with the guy you talking about who go to China or live in China and he go around and document and they're trying to touch his skin and all that, that's him allowing people to treat him bad. A lot of stuff that happened to us, we allow it to happen. I don't give a damn if they say, oh, they're human. Fuck, I know I'm human. I don't need a chink to say that. Why do I need a Chinaman to say I'm human? I don't. I know I'm a human. So then it gets to the point, why do I need them to come and say, you know what? We have to respect them because they're human. No, make them respect you. Make them respect you. But as long as we allow people to treat us like shit, pardon my French, that's how we will be treated. I'm not going nowhere so somebody can touch my skin or my hair because they think my skin might be painted on because they have never seen me in person. Is that Chinese people's fault that they do that? Or is that his fault that he's letting them do it? I'm just saying, people treat us the way we let them treat us. Come in your neighborhood. Hurry up and buy. Hurry up and buy. We let them do this to us. I don't need them to say, I'm a human, because I know I am. How about that? And that one thing I've been saying from Africa, Black nation, in all these years they claim they've been these nations. We got our freedom in 65, or we got this and we got that. We have never tried to build a military, ever tried to build nothing to take care of ourselves. We want to depend on other people. Fuck them chinks. Like what the one chink, and some people like, he didn't tell no lie. Shots fired. The chink that was talking about everything the Chinese, what they own and what they make. Yeah, you got to put y'all kids in sweatshops and work for $2 a day. So do they see their own people as a human? They treat the kids like that? But on that, man, I'll yield the mic. Like I say, the hell with them.
Black Steel, since you're an educator, he mentioned, again, the Chinese person or the Chinese descended person on screen said that it's oftentimes that Chinese high schools won't dismiss children until 10 p.m. I'm sorry, I'm laughing because that's insane. That's insane because I'd imagine they probably get up pretty early in the morning. When I say early, anything before 6 a.m. to me, it's pretty early. Black Steel, I guess, what are your thoughts on that, man? If that is true, majority of Chinese students aren't dismissed until 10 p.m.
I mean, that's crazy to me. That's their culture. I mean, that's how they run their education system. I don't think that's healthy for them to be in school that long. It's whatever, you know. And I agree with Bakari that ultimately it doesn't really matter how they feel about us, right? But that's why we have to build up ourselves and build up our people. Because how you treat me, I don't care how you feel about me, but treat us fairly. And I feel the Chinese probably understand that, and they're dealing with Europeans. You think they care if white people hate them? No. But you got to deal with that. You got to deal with it from a position of strength. And that's the problem that we have, is that we're not dealing with these people from a position of strength. We're dealing from the Chinese are coming to us and offering us deals, but they built up their economy. So I think sometimes you got to take personal feelings out of it, right? And I feel like when we have these conversations about how we're treated or how our people are being seen in the economy and taken advantage of, we got to focus on ourselves, right? And then we cannot free our people worrying about, oh, how do the Chinese feel? Who cares how they feel? Are you going to deal with us fairly? How are you going to react to us? If we come to our country, I don't want you out here putting your hands on our children and making little racist TikToks about our young people. Like that is not acceptable. And I think that's the problem. I think that we got to deal from a position of strength. And I think that's maybe the problem, is that we're not coming from a position of strength. They're really asking us to we're asking them. They come to us, but we're in a disadvantage. We need our resources. We need our people. And then if the Chinese want to come deal with us, you deal with us fairly. And then we have the economic and the diplomatic power to put pressure on you if you don't. That's what I think that is sorely missing in this conversation.
I appreciate it, Black Steel. In the chat, Lord DeSlaughter says, we always looking for humanity from others when we are the actual humans. Man, come on now, Lord. Come on now. And then Culture Education says, what's up, Culture Education? What's going on? Welcome to the show. says exactly, if they treat their own folk like that, how you think they will do us. Lord of Slaughter adds, we don't need equality. We need our continent and its resources. Nothing else matters. True indeed. Bakari, Black Steel, any last thoughts before we go into our next Shoot the Breeze topic?
Hey, I'm gonna step down, but I'm gonna be listening. I'm gonna come back.
Yes, sir. If you're on the same store run that Anthony's on, remember, man, come on, give me some Coca-Cola. I'll
get you some Mad Dog 2020, grape flavor, 99, vintage, 1999. but I'll be back on here in a minute. But I'm gonna be listening though.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Trigger Happy adds, we are the foundation and very first. I appreciate it. Yeah, Black women are encouraged. Our sisters are encouraged to join tonight's discussion. Again, if you are in the chat, pinned to the top of the chat is the StreamYard link. Go ahead and click on that to be a part of tonight's conversation. KW Dawn 7, man, with a super chat. I appreciate it, man. That means that I'm going to be able to afford some hookah coals myself. Says China will not be able to sustain themselves as a superpower long term. Their birth rate is 1.0, which is basically in the toilet. They won't have the muscle. And then Lord Asada says, oh, man, MD 2020. These are the type of drinks, Lord Asada, that I'm sure you're familiar that if you're in a happy relationship, you drink this and you might have a DV case on your hands. I joke. Please, ladies, don't get upset at me. I only joke. I don't condone DV. All right. Well, let's go ahead into our next topic. Jay-Z, you guys know who he is. And then you guys are aware, well, maybe some of you are aware that since the second term of the current U.S. presidential administration's term, companies have either embraced or ignored the DEI. Now that DEI is pretty much illegal practice among U.S. companies. So we're asking this question, and this comes with a video prompt, and it asks, Shoot the Breeze topic number 2, is Jay-Z helping us or Target? Again, is Jay-Z helping us or Target? For those that aren't aware, Target has been one of many U.S. companies that are facing scrutiny and a boycott. Yes, a boycott, just because Target has embraced the no DEI policy. With that, let's go ahead and go to YouTube for our video. Stand by.
A year and a half in, and it seems we still aren't on the same page about the Target boycott. It seems the most sacred thing about it was the religious leaders who tried to say it was over. Oh, and that video Beyonce released, telling the tender story of helping remove her man's locks right before he signed a deal with our problematic fave retail giant.
Message!
Rapper and mogul Sean Jay-Z Carter is teaming up with Target to release a limited edition vinyl of his debut album, Reasonable Doubt. It'll be sold exclusively at Target starting June 26th. But is this really the flex Target thinks it is? For a company whose motto is expect more, pay less, we might as well expect less and pay more attention. Target knows it's in hot water, and it's affecting its bottom line. If it wasn't, why else would they be pandering to the same people who would probably opt to have a meal with Jay-Z over taking that $500,000 cash? Not to mention, the numbers back it up. Since the boycott began last February, Target has lost billions in shareholder value, changed CEOs, and cut 8% of its global workforce. Boycotters have been clear about what could turn all of this around. They're asking for full restoration of Target's DEI policies. Instead, the company is dangling a 30-year-old album, albeit a classic, right in our faces.
Message!
Which brings us to Blue Ivy's internet holding Hova accountable too. Now, some folks have pointed out that celebrities, time and time again, will go where the money resides, no matter what the public opinion says. But others say it's unfair to pin the blame on Jay-Z alone, given that other Black celebrities and groups have also partnered with Target during the boycott. Think about it, though. If you're a small business owner, selling at Target might be your best bet. But if you're a billionaire, what do you need Target for? Keep in mind, this is the same Jay-Z who said we need to move past kneeling in the wake of the Colin Kaepernick protests so we could get to more action, right as he made a multi-million-dollar deal with the NFL. So we can't necessarily knock the hustle, but we can raise an eyebrow at it. Now, the real question is, how many people are going to buy it, whether it's the vinyl itself or Target's attempt to win us back? And when it comes to the Jigga Man himself, are we feeling it, or is this just another example of him putting money over morals? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. A year and a half in, and it seems we still aren't on the same page about the Target boycott. It seems the most sacred thing about it was the religious leaders who tried to say it was over. Oh, and that video Beyonce released. You know, telling the tender story of helping remove her man's locks right before he signed a deal with our problematic fave retail giant.
Message!
Rapper and mogul Sean Jay-Z Carter is teaming up with Target to release a limited edition vinyl of his debut album, Reasonable Doubt. It'll be sold exclusively at Target starting June 26th. But is this really the flex Target thinks it is? For a company whose motto is expect more, pay less, we might as well expect less and pay more attention. Target knows it's in hot water, and it's affecting its bottom line. If it wasn't, why else would they be pandering to the same people who would probably opt to have a meal with Jay-Z over taking that $500,000 cash? Not to mention, the numbers back it up. Since the boycott began last February, Target has lost billions in shareholder value, changed CEOs, and cut 8% of its global workforce. Boycotters have been clear about what could turn all of this around. They're asking for full restoration of Target's DEI policies. Instead, the company is dangling a 30-year-old album, albeit a classic, right in our faces.
Message!
Which brings us to Blue Ivy's internet holding Hova accountable too. Now, some folks have pointed out that celebrities, time and time again, will go where the money resides, no matter what the public opinion says. But others say it's unfair to pin the blame on Jay-Z alone, given that other Black celebrities and groups have also partnered with Target during the boycott. Think about it, though. If you're a small business owner, selling at Target might be your best bet. But if you're a billionaire, what do you need Target for? Keep in mind, this is the same Jay-Z who said we need to move past kneeling in the wake of the Colin Kaepernick protests so we could get to more action, right as he made a multi-million-dollar deal with the NFL. So we can't necessarily knock the hustle, but we can raise an eyebrow at it. Now, the real question is, how many people are going to buy it, whether it's the vinyl itself or Target's attempt to win us back? And when it comes to the Jigga Man himself, are we feeling it, or is this just another example of him putting money over morals? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.
On to the next one, on to the next one, on to the next, and we on to the next one. Once again, I'm Jacadero, proudly filling in for Brother Koku here on Shoot the Breeze episode 247 on the Bitter Medicine podcast. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Come on. The algorithm needs to know, needs to see on what it is that like-minded individuals like you are paying your attention to. Come on. It's important. Don't you want other people to know? Huh? All right. Shoot the Breeze. Topic number 2 asks, is Jay-Z helping us or Target? Black Steel. What say you?
Jay-Z's helping himself, man. You know, he is definitely somebody who looks out for number one. He's not helping Black people. He could care less about Black people. He's trying to line his pockets. And he has to understand that right now, we many of us have been unified in our disdain and our dislike of Target, right? Many of us are avoiding going into the company and how they're treating our people, rightfully so. So if he chooses to go against the unity, then he should be held accountable for that. I don't think he should get a pass for that. If Black, just like I give an example, right? Back in the day, Black people did a boycott against South Africa and the apartheid system that existed at the time. And many Black entertainers refused to play in South Africa. They refused to deal with businesses that supported South Africa. But there were some Black people who went against that, who went against the unity, and they decided that they were going to do what they wanted to do. Tina Turner is a good example. Stephanie Mills, another example, right? And those Black people were punished severely. They lost out on ticket sales because there were some people who decided to go against the unity. So that's how I feel about Jay-Z. If the masses of Black people are saying, yo, we don't like how Target's treating our people, you know, they eliminated whatever, the complaint about the DEI diversity initiatives they were doing. Okay, we have a right to go against that. Jay-Z wants to go against the will of the African people, so be it. But then he has to bear that cost out, you know. So I just feel like if you decide to go against the unity, you got to deal with whatever consequences come from that. It could be loss of sales. It could be, what was the one black? I don't think that'll happen to him. Like, what was her name? Chrisette Michelle, when she sang at Trump's inauguration, that basically killed her career. Her career is done. You don't even hear about her anymore. I don't think Jay-Z would ever suffer that level of consequences. But the thing is that he has to realize that we're the ones who buy his album. Just like Kanye. Kanye turned Nazi. He started losing support. He started losing sales. He had to come and make an apology. So I think that sometimes these celebrities forget what side of the line they're supposed to be on. And, you know, they're supposed to support the people, not the other way around. We don't work for you. You work for us. So Jay-Z's out for himself. He's about to get his pockets lined. He don't care. Honestly, this man does not care one bit about what we are doing as far as his protest. He doesn't care. So, but he sees an opportunity in this for him to make a couple dollars. And that's the way he's moving. He doesn't care if it's against if most black people don't agree with this, don't support this. He's about to get what he can get from this. And that's very dishonest, very disrespectful of our people and our struggle. So no, I don't support a jig man in this. And again, he's looking out for himself and to get his pocket straight. You know, and that's what money does to you. He's making sure he's good. He can buy whatever stuff he want to buy for Blue Ivy, whatever. But ultimately, his goal is to finance his pockets. That's how he operates. That's how he's always operated. Jay-Z has always been very much a mercenary when it comes to his money. You know, I'm not surprised that he would do something like this at all. You know, he's making sure that he's good. Like he was selling the courses about cryptocurrency in the hood. You know, that's the problem, is that he doesn't care about what we got going on, as long as his money's good. So I'll leave it there. Thank you, Jackadale.
I appreciate it, Black Steel. Yeah, this is interesting because, you know, Jay-Z knows that, you know, we support him. He knows that we support him. And so just like the kneeling incident when, you know, he said in a open panel discussion, you know, we're past kneeling, it made a lot of eyes crooked at him. My question to you, Black Steel, is do you know anybody that is currently on and has been practicing the Target boycott? And if so, do you think that it's affecting Target? I ask that just because I'm not necessarily sure that Target's main demographic, their target demographic, is Black people. I know that during Black History Month, you can go in there and then you can see whether it's the makeup or the clothes section, they'll have highlighted creators in an attempt to promote. But if we're not the target demographic, does this really hurt Target? And again, I ask, do you know anybody that's actively and has been practicing? Let me know.
I know a few people who are practicing it. You know, even me myself. First of all, Target's expensive. I don't go into Target because they're very pricey, you know, for what they do. So, but yeah, I know a few people who are actively avoiding Target and not going into their stores. So yeah, it's not unheard of. But to your point, Jack, I think that they've lost money. You know, that the shareholders have mentioned that Target has actually lost a great deal of money. And recently, you know, their sales are down. Is it a result of the boycott? Is it we just got a bad economy? I don't know. But they definitely have lost money, and they are affected by some of these changes. But yeah, I do know some people that are holding the line. And I think that Black people have to. And the reality is, man, we don't really have no real radical revolution going on right now. So most people have decided to fight back within the system, right? They're not going to blow up Target, but at least they can do, hey, I'm not going to shop there. I respect that. I do respect that. I do respect that a great deal, because this is a company that, in their whole thing about we're getting rid of our illegal DEI or whatever the fuck they're saying, right? Costco did not do that, and Costco is selling quite well. Costco decided to continue to support that their diversity, inclusion, and equity arrangements. So if one company can do it, the others can do it too. They're doing this because they want to, not because they're so much afraid of the government. They're doing it because they want to. So that's just my opinion on the whole situation. Yeah, he doesn't really care, but I know people who are sticking to the boycott, and I support it. I don't see anything wrong with it.
I appreciate it, Black Steel. Yeah, I actually know a few people as well. Whenever the conversation has arose, that have taken the steps to boycott Target entirely. Brother Bakari, I'm not sure if you gotten a chance to see the video. You did say that you were going to be in the background.
Yeah, I saw it.
All right. What say you? Is Shoot the Breeze topic number 2? Is Jay-Z helping us or Target?
First of all, I want to say this. Black people have fucked them celebrities. Pardon my French. It's about time for black people to just say the hell with a celebrity. Jay-Z is concerned about Jay-Z, but Target believe they can use him to get black people to come and shop with them again. But until we say to hell with these celebrities and stop acting as if they give a damn about you. Jay-Z said a long time ago when asked about what doing in the black community, what he say, I help black people by just, what do you say about them seeing me or something to that effect. We don't have to do anything. And that's one of the problems. We jump on something because this person is black. Now, I'm hoping black people don't jump on this Jay-Z thing or that dude Jamal Bryant, because I think he got him some money too. He got some kind of deal with that preacher. He got him some type of deal with Target when he screamed the boy. He's the mouthpiece for black folk. But Jay-Z is who Jay-Z is. And to hell with those celebrities. But I want to tell Black Steel this. He said we don't have no real revolutionaries out front. Man, you must be and forgot about FBA and ADOS. Now you're the mic.
I see we got jokes tonight. Okay.
In the chat, Tragapi says none of these people will be scared of such pressure anymore because we don't have a unified front on a lot of these issues for them to feel any pressure. He also adds, if celebrities are not funding anything significant for black people in the long term, and in a liberatory sense, they are all useless in the realm of the material. Culture Education says, my perspective is a little different. Target also employs black people and sells products made by black companies like Happy Hughes. I did not know this. Trigger Happy says, maybe in terms of imagery and whatnot, there is something other than that. Nah. And Lord of Slaughter laughs at Bakari and saying the FBA and ADOS. This is interesting. And why is this interesting is because like Brother Bakari says, hey, these celebrities are consistently selling out. For those that were not born or were not aware, I bring to you Craig Hodges of the Chicago Bulls during the early 90s seasons. He came under controversy because of his political activism during the 91-92 season and his belief that he was blackballed. Following the Bulls championship back in 91, the team visited the White House and Hodges wore, I'm going to call it a Nigerian attire, and then handing then President George H.W. a handwritten 8-page letter. In the letter, he demanded that the Bush administration address systemic racism and pay closer attention to the struggles of African-American communities. And when he asked Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson to sit out games to protest racial inequality, Jordan and Magic Johnson said, nah. They said, we got existing contracts and endorsement commitments. We ain't going to do that. Bakari, Black Steel, what you say to that? Is this a repeat of Craig Hodges trying to get his fellow celebrities, what are they, holding the line, and then them saying, nah? Are we seeing that with Jay-Z?
Jackie Darrell, did you just compare Chris Hodges to what Jay-Z is doing?
I'm comparing.
Is that my mistake?
I'm comparing. I'm saying it's there is a parallel saying that here where Craig Hodges was trying to get Jordan. I'm saying Jordan is Jay-Z. Magic Johnson is Jay-Z.
Oh, okay. Thank you
Yeah.
for clarifying that. I'm sorry.
but yeah,
thoughts
about that.
Man, here's the thing about these celebrities, man. There's a great book I have called $40 Million Slaves, right? And many of these rich, wealthy people, they know what they can and can't do if they want to keep their money, right? There's certain things that they can limit themselves to. They can't, there's certain supports and examples they can do, but they can't get too far out of line. Otherwise, that's committing, class suicide, economic suicide. What happened when Chris Hodges wrote that note and gave it to George Bush? Man, his career was over. It was done. Same thing with Kaepernick. Kaepernick kneeled for police brutality, and he's never played again. He's never going to play football again, right? We always hear rumors, he's going to get a chance. He's never getting another chance. How many years has it been since Kaepernick knelt? He's done, right? And they made an example out of him. And they'll make an example out of every black celebrity or black person who chooses to stand for the side of black people. And that's the message to you. If you can do it if you want to, but you're going to lose your wealth, your endorsements, your career, all of that will be down the drain. We created these opportunities for you. And if you step out of line, you'll lose opportunities. And that's just, again, $40 million slaves. You got the money, but you still got to do it on the side. You're going to lose that money. You're going to lose that support. So Jay-Z, again, he's out for Jay-Z. He's out making his money. He's going to try to make sure he's good. What did he say one time? He said, what's better than one billionaire? Two, especially if he's the same hue as you. And I'm thinking to myself, how is a billionaire a good thing? Like, just because you have a black person who has $1 billion, that doesn't help the masses of black people. But again, like Bakari mentioned, Jay-Z once said that my presence is charity. Just him showing up to an event is him giving back to the community. And that's the type of self-centered, narcissistic person that he is, right? He hasn't changed any laws. Yeah, he helped bail a few people out of jail. He got some, he's paid for some lawyers for some people. Okay, that's cool. But I think that as far as any type of wide-scale systemic stuff, he's not going to be do anything to really change it because he knows he's not going to mess with his money. I'll leave it there.
Appreciate it, Black Steel. Brother Bakari, any remarks?
I don't ever say this word right. Cote d'Ivoire just went up 2-1 on Uzbekistan.
Woo! I appreciate
that most of these people, they're not going to do anything. And if they do anything, they're going to do stuff in private. I'm going to tell you something. If you go back, I want to say it was 1973. 73, 75, something like that. The AFL All-Star game, the professional football. And some racial incident had happened in New Orleans. And all the black players, because back then there used to be a lot of players from HBCUs in the league. And they did a documentary on it. So all the HBCU players that made the All-Star game said they refused to play in New Orleans. Stuff changed. They won't play there. So the All-Star game was literally, so when the HBCU players did it, other black players started doing it. It was the HBCU players who did it first. Then other black players started doing it. So then they moved the All-Star game from New Orleans to San Diego. Now in that process, the guy was like, one of the guys was talking. He said when it came down to next contract, they want to put in your contract that you can't speak on political stuff in your community. Things you can't do, he said they would put in black people contracts. But I think it was a different breed back then because as he was talking, he was like, people refused to sign those. People were refusing to sign contracts telling them they can't be involved in anything political, and they shouldn't do this in the Black community. Fast forward to 2026, these people only care about money. So they don't care. They'll do whatever. Now, when you use Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan, I've always said, I didn't think Jordan, but I would give Jordan credit for this. Jordan has opened up about 4 health clinics in poor communities in like the last 10, 12 years, something like that, for people who can't afford health care, and elderly get to go to his clinics for free. They're in Black neighborhoods. I would say he did that. Magic Johnson is but to stand up and put your career on the line the way Craig Hodges did, the way Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf did, the way Muhammad Ali did, the way the quarterback, I can't even think of his name now, who Black Steel just said it. But to put your career on the line, that's hard for a lot of these people. I could see if you like, you know what, I'm gonna make this money, but while I'm making this money, I'm putting this money into the Black community. You don't turn your head to social injustices and things that happen to Black people. You don't do that. But if you're out here doing this, you should want to come back and help. And I'm not saying that they owe all of their money to Black people. Magic Johnson had done, one of my nieces in Chicago benefited from a program that Magic Johnson had for high school graduates, and really just Black folks, high school graduates at the time, giving away computers, helping pay way through college and stuff like that. Man, I got to take this call, man. Damn it.
Yeah, it's yeah, you're pretty busy, Bakari. Maybe you got some $1 million deals, huh? How about that? In the chat, Beyond Fear says, man, the convo is about IP. Y'all beating a dead horse. Earlier, Beyond Fear said, well, I created the world's first IP tracking system, and bum ass Goner stopped supporting me. I don't know. I'm not Beyond Fear. Maybe if you want to elaborate, I'm not 100% sure on what any of this means. But Daily Affirmations checks in. What's going on, Daily Affirmations? She says, good evening. Good evening, Daily Affirmations. Black Steel, are we beating a dead horse with this conversation again? I mean, it is relevant. I mean, it is Jay-Z. It is a popular celebrity. I know Bakari says we got to stop looking at our Black celebrities, but are we beating a dead horse with this? I mean,
I think it's good. I think it's good to point out the fact that these celebrities are just meant to be entertainers, right? I think that once you put a celebrity or a ball chaser or a singer or a rapper, put them in any type of level of institution or leadership or whatnot, you're going to get this type of stuff. So I think it's worth it just to have this conversation about again, young people don't always realize it. They look up to these people. Maybe not so much Jay-Z, but then you can turn around and have somebody like NBA Youngboy, who they love. And, they like whatever he's doing. And, he's a Trump fan, so now they're Trump fans because Trump pardoned Youngboy. And that's the type of stuff that we just have to be aware of, We have to meet the people where they are.
Meet the people where they are. Indeed. Earlier, Brother Bakari talked about how using the celebrity and or persona for the greater good. It is suggested that Booker T. Washington supported the anti-colonial movements in Africa, penning a letter to Dedan Kimathi and the Mau Mau. So, Brother Booker T. Washington, being the founder of Tuskegee Institute, later to become Tuskegee University, if that in fact happened, which even if it didn't, we're still going to have him in high esteem. But, something like that's monumental. It speaks a lot about how, I think Bakari suggested how, maybe if, he said that Jordan had dedicated to funding the transportation and free clinics. Healthcare in the United States, for those that don't know, whenever immigrants come to the United States, they're told that the healthcare in the United States is the highest in the world. Highest. The cost of healthcare in the United States is the highest in the world. So if Michael Jordan can make that easier. Also, there was earlier this year, there was I forget her name, but a sports journalist, a decorated sports journalist from her county of Gwinnett County in Georgia. She wiped over $2 million worth of medical debt for her county of Gwinnett County. Man, that's, again, debt in the United States, man, is a big cause of people's depression. So, just making that easier, I give it up. So, when Craig Hodges, literally lost his career by just standing up and being a voice for the disenfranchised, gotta love it. Any last remarks, Bakari, if you're able, and Blacksteel, any last remarks about this Shoot the Breeze topic number 2, Jay-Z and Target?
No, we go and move on to the next topic.
All right. Shoot the Breeze topic number 3. For those that are not aware, in the United States, the Supreme Court had a ruling this week on temporary protected status. It's basically a status where you as an immigrant are able to stay in the United States because the country or countries that you come from is that hostile. And so this week was the week that the Supreme Court of the United States ruled. And in a 6-3 decision, the Supreme Court ruled in favor of doing away, again, eliminating the temporary protected status for Syrian and Haitian immigrants. In the chat, Coco 911 answers Taylor Rooks, excuse me. Yes, Taylor Rooks, yes, from Gwinnett County. Major, again, wiping away $2 million worth of debt for Gwinnett County. So, but yes, nonetheless, we're moving on. Shoot the Breeze topic number 3 ask, is it time to leave or is this just wrong? We got 2 videos that go with this topic. The first one is a breakdown of the Supreme Court ruling, again, to end protected status for Haitian and Syrian immigrants. But, we are the diaspora here in the United States. That's where we're based out of. So we're going to focus on our Caribbean and African immigrants. Let's go with the first video, and then we'll show the second video about a talk show host voicing her opinion on the ruling. First, we'll start off with the message, again, the breakdown of the U.S. Supreme Court ruling this week.
Haitian immigrants in Ohio could lose their legal status after a major Supreme Court decision just came through involving the Trump administration's immigration policy. I'm Josh with the Daily Drop, and here's what just happened. In a 6-3 decision, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled Thursday that the Trump administration can move forward with ending temporary protected status, or TPS, for Haitians. Now, TPS is a program that allows people from countries affected by war, natural disasters, or other major issues to legally live and work in the United States. Taking a look at the Supreme Court opinion, Justice Alito wrote for the majority that Congress wrote the TPS law in a way that largely prevents courts from reviewing decisions to designate, extend, or end those protections. And in dissenting opinion, Justice Kagan argued courts should still be able to review whether the administration follow procedures required by Congress before ending TPS. Now, the decision could affect thousands of people in Ohio, including an estimated 15,000 Haitians in the Springfield area and another 30,000 in Central Ohio. Haitians first became eligible for TPS after the devastating 2010 earthquake, and those protections were repeatedly extended as Haiti faced ongoing political instability and violence. We'll continue to track the situation, but you can read Anastasia's full coverage on this and more at Cleveland.com. Thousands of
Go home. And look, this has been going on for over a dozen years. Go home. Get out. We know our country's better than yours. That's because we filled it with our work ethic and our culture and our values. You being here only dilutes it for us, those who built it and live it. And half of you people, more than half, you won't assimilate. We don't want you. We don't care if you're offended. Get out. Go home. Go back to fucking Haiti. Sorry. I'm thinking about our friends in Ohio who've been dealing with these TPS Haitians for years now, who are drunk driving all over their towns and killing people. This is the whole cats and dogs thing. Like they don't want to live like Americans live. And this was supposed to be it was supposed to be temporary help. And it's turned into another backdoor way of allowing someone permanent residency here. And they take advantage of all of our public services and look, this has been going on for over a dozen years. Go home. Get out. We know our country's better than yours. That's because we filled it with our work ethic and our culture and our values. You being here only dilutes it for us, those who built it and live it. And half of you people, more than half, you won't assimilate. We don't want you. We don't care if you're offended. Get out. Go home. Go back to fucking Haiti. Sorry.
Once again, if you're just joining in, I am Jack Cadero, proudly filling in for Brother Koku here on Shoot the Breeze episode 247 on the Bitter Medicine Podcast. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Get like-minded individual eyes and ears to this content. It's needed. We are getting into our third topic on Shoot the Breeze episode 247, and it asks, is it time to leave or is this just wrong? The two videos, the first one, a breakdown of the Supreme Court of the United States allowing the end of protected status for Haitian and Syrian immigrants. We're going to focus on the Haitian immigrants, our Caribbean brothers and sisters. Why not? Let's go ahead and start off with our educator, Black Steel. What say you? Is it time to leave or is this just wrong?
First of all, fuck that bitch. Okay, fuck her. I hope she dies in a grease fire. Okay, I wish nothing but bad things on her. Oh, drop pussy bitch. Anyway, nah, man, because that's just so. Fuck that bitch. Anyways, United States is a white supremacist country, man. Donald, the president of the United States, this administration is doing everything possible to make the United States a white supremacist, a white national, a white nation, right? And it's so funny that these provisions do not apply to these white South Africans, all 50 of them that came over escaping the genocide, the white genocide in South Africa, quote unquote, right? You know, I noticed these laws and these stipulations do not apply to them. And we know what the United States has done to Haiti, how they've destroyed their economy, destroyed, their government, going back all the way to the 19th century and right after the Haitian Revolution. We know what the European powers have worked very hard to punish Haiti for daring to free themselves from slavery. And this is why their country is made an example of. From the Clintons destroying the rice industry, to the UN bringing in cholera, to the Marines literally stealing the gold from their treasury back in 1915, to the sanctions, the murder of their political leaders. It's a really long list of fuckery that the United States has pulled on the Haitian people and the island of Haiti. Even what happened after the earthquake, right? Because of Haiti's infrastructure, because of their economy, they weren't able to properly rebuild from what happened after that earthquake. And it's been a struggle ever since. But again, you don't see these restrictions on white immigrants, right? If these were people coming from a majority white country, this wouldn't even be a conversation, because this administration is just open with their desire, is just open with their white nationalism. They're open with their racism. And that's just all it is to it. I feel for these people, because from everything they've said, these Haitians are hard workers. If anything, these people embarrass what the Americans in these towns in Ohio. Many of their bosses say, we can't get these people to come to work. They don't do anything. They come here, they go to church, and they live their lives, right? And this whole thing about them eating cats and dogs is all about, not just adding drunk drivers. It's all about hysterics. these people, immigrants tend to commit less crime than average, right? But yeah, I feel for these people. I think it's time for, if they need to leave, because what recourse do they really have at this point? The Supreme Court is the highest court in the land. They've ruled on it, and Trump, they said that the lower courts can't block it. Then it leaves their future in jeopardy. But many of these people, they've been here since 2010, sometimes before that. But America has always been like that towards Haitians. Remember, for those of you who may not know, there was a wet foot, dry foot rule. You know, when in Florida, for example, if the Cubans were escaping Cuba, if they made it to dry land, they were allowed to stay. The Haitians were not. Haitians were not given that freedom that the Cubans were given when they left Haiti. And they were, dealing with the dictatorship of Papa Doc Duvalier and everybody else, all the other things that were going on in Haiti. They didn't have that option, but the Cubans did. So it's just another example of America's racist foreign policy, this race administration taking effect. I really feel for these people because many of them have been in the United States for years. I don't even know what to say. Should they go back? They may not have a choice to go back. I don't know what type of quality of life they'll have overseas if they go back, what type of home they'll have back in Haiti. I just don't know. It's a bad situation all around. I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Black. Will they get sent to Haiti? I'm sorry. I would just ask the question. Will they send them back to Haiti? Because he just sending people anywhere, man. But I agree with what Black just said about Megyn Kelly. Fuck that bitch.
Before we get into your further thoughts, Brother Bakari, just a note, Megyn Kelly explains on "We don't want you here. We don't want Haitians here." Well, for the year of 2026, the U.S. refugee admission ceiling, again, so the amount of people allowed in the country for South Africans, for white South Africans, specifically the Afrikaners, is set at 17,500. It was initially 7,500, but it was raised by this current U.S. administration. So far, as of late May, approximately 6,000 have entered the country, making up 99% of all U.S. refugee admissions. Again, so out of all the people, okay? So it was 7,500 that were topped as far as U.S. refugee admissions. 99% of them are made up by white South Africans. The program functions almost exclusively for this demographic at this point, guys. The vast majority of U.S. refugee slots are honestly just reserved for those white South Africans. So with that being said, and everything that you've heard, Brother Bakari, what's your thoughts? I mean, is it time to leave, or is this just wrong? Is this racism?
With the regime you have in charge, no, it's not wrong. Because that's how they feel about you. So I don't know why we keep thinking the way these people feel is wrong. The way they feel is right. What's wrong is we don't feel the same way about them. So we should have something. We should have been able to protect our people when they come here. But since we didn't have a thing, have anything our communities wasn't taken care of, and they couldn't come hide amongst us the way other people do, right? Because there's a lot of white people here that's illegal, Asian people here, everybody. Since we didn't, so this is what happens. Is it time for them to go home? No, it's not time. I wouldn't say it's time for them to go home. People go, they try to make a better life to get away from what's going on in their own country, right? Maybe you need to overthrow the government over there. But this is how these people have always treated black folks. I remember Bill Clinton, bitch ass, pardon my French, pushed them Haitians while they arguing over Julio, the white Cuban dude, Julio Iglesias, so that the one Cuban can stay. They were pushing 19 Haitians raft back in the ocean and just let them drown. Bill Clinton was president. I remember that.
Elian Gonzalez, the little boy.
Yeah, when they was crying over him.
Yeah,
Julio
Iglesias. How you mean the singer?
I couldn't think of his name, man. So I knew he
was even me, brother Bakari. I was like Enrique Iglesias, but yeah, I understood who you were referencing.
I couldn't think of his name.
I know what you, but yeah, that's a fair point. I remember that. That was a whole diplomatic incident. They was trying to keep the boy away from his father, and his father was a Cuban national, and he wanted his son back. And I think the boy was taken by, it was a whole thing. They had to snatch him away. Yeah, that was a whole diplomatic incident.
And then remember, they pushed them Haitians back in the ocean on their raft.
Yes, they did.
Yep, I remember that. So this is how these people always felt. And one I did know, I knew there were goons, but what I didn't know was that there were so many black people that felt like these people toward black people. Because the stuff she was saying, she sound like FB. She sound like the people that call themselves FBA, ADOS, and the Aboriginal Indigenous. You understand? That's what she sound like. And I remember it because I just saw it again when Koku just put up a short and it was Black Steel speaking. And they were talking about when your enemy co-sign you. And Black Steel was like, so, if your enemy co-signing you saying the same thing you saying, that's a problem. Talking about what Tucker Carlson said, right? So now when you see what Tucker Carlson said, and now you listen to this woman, I'm going to ask a question. Why do people still call FBA and ADOS brothers and sisters? We should have had something set up, man. I'm going to tell you, when this guy first won, I'll never forget, my neighbors across the street from me, real good neighbors, they're Haitian, and they used to have a flag up in the car, and I asked them why you took the flag out of your car. Because they said they was riding down the street one day. This is the guy's wife. She was driving one, stopped at the red light, and all them damn redneck crackers started messing with her about her flag. And she said she got nervous. So when she left there, she got away from them. She just, to make sure she don't have people bothering her, feeling scared, seem like they threatening her, she just took the flag down because they can't look and tell she's Haitian. She's just a black woman. But she took her flag out of her car. So fuck her. Fuck Megyn Kelly. Let me say who I'm saying when I say her. So fuck Megyn Kelly. Fuck the people that think like Megyn Kelly. And fuck FBA and ADOS and all them the same. And I yield the mic.
So FBA, ADOS wasn't even in the conversation, but they catch the strays. I love it.
You stupid. Hey, but didn't she sound like them though?
She did everything, their talking points, telling them to shut up and go back to their country and all the other stuff. Like, why do people forget? Black people made this country. It was our labor that made this country. So maybe she should take her ass back.
True indeed. Oh man, in the chat, we have a lot here. Where should I start? Well, Trigger Happy says, how some regimes deal with immigration is never about getting people back to their country. It's completely getting rid of the quote-unquote undesirables. Trigger Happy says, DR Congo, though. What's going on, DR Congo? I see you advancing. Culture Education says there was a joke about that in the Miami newspaper that a black Cuban was confused for Haitian and was also sent back due to that dry foot, wet foot policy. Yeah, this is interesting. I have somebody that I follow on social media who's a heavy FBA supporter, and he was excited about the TPS ruling and saying that it's about time that they go back and fix their country. And then I asked him, I said, what do you think government overthrows are? You know, you think that's just for fun? You think people, attempt to overthrow their government for fun? That's an attempt. That's an attempt to change their country. And then when it doesn't work out, you think that they just stop at just getting you? No, they want to get everybody that's from your village. They want to get everybody that's from your block. And do you know what kind of mess that is? If a lot of quote unquote Black Americans, African Americans, got to really understand on what happens when the entire government is at you. Now, I understand that Black Americans for the past 400 years have had an attack, have had a war. I'm saying in the context where your government looks just like you, and they saying, hey, everybody that you may or may not have associated with that tried to overthrow this government, we're going to come after them. And it's not going to be just an arrest. We're going to, plan horrible things. So, this is the thing that I don't think FBA understands is that, people are trying to fix their countries, some in a violent way, some in a political way, but nonetheless, people are trying to do that. And for the other people that are like, hey, I'm a family man, I'm a family woman, I don't have time for that. I don't have time to belong to a rebel group. I have to get out. And then also, isn't traveling free? Like, can people not travel? That's a basic thing. Can people not travel? This is ridiculous.
Can, Jack, but one thing I want to say, I don't mean to cut you off, brother. I'm sorry. This is a thought that popped in my head. So,
please.
This conversation about going back and fixing your country, quote unquote, but nobody ever talks about who broke the country, right? So nobody wants to really communicate and talk about the role that the West, particularly the United States, and in this particular conversation, France as well, has worked to destroy democratically elected governments. I mean, how much time do we really have here on the platform? We only got it till 11 o'clock. We could talk about what happened in Nicaragua, what happened in how when the people of Nicaragua decided to nationalize their industry, the United States came in and helped try to overthrow the government, and they're giving money to guerrillas and fighters and to destabilize the government. That was the whole Iran-Contra affair back in the 80s. Guatemala, Chile, Argentina. Whenever a country, Venezuela, for example, whenever a country tries to separate itself or decide our resources are going to fix our country and going to work for our people, here comes the United States, all right, on some old Monroe Doctrine shit, proclaiming that the Western Hemisphere is their sphere of influence and they can do what they want to in it, right? And they overthrow, they kill, they assassinate leaders, they mess up their economy, they sanction you. So all these people who are saying, oh, go fix your country, why do y'all never address the reason why these people are here in the first place? If the United States would stay out of other people's business, if they would not interfere with other people's economies. There's a whole book called Confessions of an Economic Hitman, okay? So there's a whole system that's been in place to quote unquote make the economy scream that have been in place. So on one hand, you're saying go back to your country, but on the other hand, we're not going to stop messing with your country. We're going to continue to undermine you and mess up what you got going on. So to me, it's all a joke. It's not even the people who say that, they're not serious people. But I would also say they're probably ignorant. They don't even know the history of Haiti or the history of many countries in this part of the world and how the United States has worked to undermine and destroy their sovereignty. So however, on one hand, you're going to say, go back to your country, but then why don't you leave their countries alone? Matter of fact, if you just let these people alone, they probably stay in their home country. If you weren't killing their presidents, if you weren't destroying their economy and stealing their resources, they probably stay home. How about we try that first?
Interesting that you say that, Black Steel. In the chat, Lord of Slaughter says, FBA don't fix shit here. Imagine. Koku 911 says, how'd they respond, Jacques, to my statement about somebody I follow that's a heavy proponent for FBA saying, this is the time that, they can go back to their country. It's worth noting that the people that are being held responsible for the assassination of Haitian President Jovenel Moïse back in July of 2021 were all Americans. Again, proven guilty in a South Florida court this year. This year. 2021. So 5 years later, we finally got some of the answers, not all the answers, but some of the answers. The head of a Florida security firm, a financier, and just other mercenaries. But again, all Americans. So people are here because, again, American citizens assassinated their president. Lord of Slaughter says exactly. Trigger Happy says deportation is probably the safest option. And even then, there's a lot between that period of you getting deported and then possibly committing violence against you. When people go back, I want to have people understand when somebody's deported, this is not just, hey, you just arrive at an airport. Okay, let's break it down. I have a friend that has South Sudanese friends that had been deported during the 2010s, and they said it's a nightmare. It's a living nightmare. Number one, you now have to reacclimate yourself into society. And so by then, some people aren't still speaking the language. That's number one. Now you might say, oh, boo-hoo, oh, go cry somewhere. But I mean, how can you now practice commerce? You have to make money. Otherwise, you're at the mercy of somebody else, right? Maybe a family member, maybe friends. But eventually, you have to start making your own money as a grown man and maybe as a grown woman as well. Second thing is that, you now have this label. It doesn't just end with you just leaving America as a deportee. Now the entire government of wherever it is that you come from knows that you're a deportee. So now you're targeted. Hey, you got American dollars. Hey, you have American resources. And it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop after a week. It doesn't stop after 2 weeks. Still to this day, there are the friends of mine that are still like, hey, man, somebody knows that I was a deportee, and they're constantly hounding me because they say that I have connections in America. We're talking about police, clothes police and street clothes police. But it's a whole nightmare, and it's not just it's moving. Essentially, it's a forced move, and anybody that has moved can tell you that moving is not picking a restaurant to eat dinner at. It's a whole process. I just moved from one apartment to another here in Omaha, just literally within the city. And that process was a 3-month process, finding the place, saving up for first month, last month, and then the deposit. Also, scheduling things like I had a bit of help. I was able, by the grace of Nyasai, to have movers. So I had to schedule that out, as well as, it's a whole process. So now you're talking about literally forcibly moving somebody and saying, hey, figure it out now. Some of these guys got to be joking here. This is not. And then you're now moving forcefully to a place that is in chaos. Now, granted, you might not come from Port-au-Prince, but that's where you're going to land. That's where the international airport is. So you're going to land in a literal war zone. They say 80% of Port-au-Prince is controlled by anti-government rebels. Come on, FBA, ADOs. If you're listening to this, really think about that. The airport that you land at, there might not be any taxis to get you to where you need to go if you have a place to go. Again, because you probably either are being held in a detention center, so you don't have your phone, you don't have your cell phone. So how can you communicate to whoever it is on the ground to say, hey, I'm landing at this time? You probably don't. So probably the first plane that those anti-government rebels see, they're like, okay, bet. There's going to be a few taxi cabs that are going to leave there. We're going to stop them along the way. Go ahead and empty your pockets. Man, I can go on and on, but this is a nightmare. And yeah, this is wrong. Megyn Kelly is showing her true colors, but I don't expect anything less. I'm just expecting more FBA to really think about this, like, go back to your country. And then, sorry to not take a long time to answer your question, Koku 911 asking what was their response. When I mentioned, the whole thing of overthrowing governments, in these African and Caribbean countries to make the life easier for them. He responded, okay, well, then they should stay and do that. Unlike us, FBA, we've never ran. That's what I always get confronted with. We've never ran. FBA have never ran away. They've never ran away. Black Steel, Brother Bakari, maybe you two can speak on this. Why do FBA continue to tell me we've never ran away, but you guys always run away from you guys' countries? Where does this come from?
Because they're ignorant of history, man. And that's really what it is. They're ignorant of history, and they want to look down on other Black people somehow. So that's their particular talking point. And it doesn't really matter how many times you point out how ahistorical it is, right? I mean, what is Liberia? Isn't Liberia a colony of Black people who fled slavery prior to the Civil War? If you talk about the community in what? There's a community in Dominican Republic that has former slaves that escaped, that came there when the whole island was under the control of Haiti, that still exists to this day. I think it's called Samana or Samana. I don't know. My girlfriend could tell me. Those former slaves who, I mean, did we not understand what was the Underground Railroad? Underground Railroad led to Canada, okay, and Mexico, and the Bahamas. So you have many situations where Black people had to flee the United States, right? And it's not a matter of cowardice or whatnot. They left the country. There were movements within the country. The Exodus of 1879, after the end of the Civil War, after the collapse of Reconstruction, you had Black people who left the South and went out to places out west like Kansas, of those territories in the West, Montana, Idaho, all. So you had Black people leaving. They might not have left the United States, but they did leave their particular region. That was the whole thing about the quote unquote Great Migration at the end of the First World War, where you had millions of Black people who left the South and went to northern cities and northern plants for better job opportunities. They call it a migration. It was really ethnic cleansing. Black people were being murdered, their land was being stolen, and they had to leave. They may not have left the United States, but many of them left their homes. They left their family members, and they built new homes in, be it New York, Chicago, New Jersey, those places like that. They were just leaving the South. So this again, it's just ahistorical nonsense. And if one of them was up here, he argued me down and say that's not true, and I don't know what I'm talking about, and I'm probably a tether. You know what? It is what it is. Who cares? But no, it's just ahistorical. They don't know history. That's it.
Appreciate it, Black Steel. Brother Bakari, any remarks, last remarks on this Shoot the Breeze topic, number 3? If you're still on. All right. Well, before we get into Shoot the Breeze topic number 4, KW Don 7 says all FBA does is run their mouths. Imagine. That's all they do. And then Culture Education says Samanya. Yes, maybe in reference to Black Steel in those areas or populations now where it's formerly African American that are now acclimated outside the country. And then Liberia. Yeah, Liberia itself, I mean, it was called the American Colonization Society. It's ironic. All right. Well,
were you calling me? Did you call me Jacadero?
Yeah. I asked if you had any last remarks.
This is what I tell them folk from FBA. They say they ain't never ran, never done nothing like that, right? Tell them to take their ass to the state with the highest Black population by percentage in the United States and go help them build something. Watch what them motherfuckers tell you. Tell them to go to the SIP. Watch what they tell you. They're going to see it too. Tell them to go to Mississippi. Watch what they tell you.
Even LeBron James, the historic future Hall of Famer, first ballot, has went on record and said, I would never want to play in Memphis. And neither do many of my other co-workers, other NBA players. If LeBron James himself is saying, hey, this is so bad of a place that I don't – it goes without saying. I have nothing against Memphis. The Empowerment Network, we do trade with Memphis. But, yeah, Brother Bakari, to add what you're saying, their own king, is saying, hey, there's some places here in the U.S.
I'm from Mississippi. I say tell them to go to Memphis, Mississippi. I ain't from Memphis. I'm from Mississippi. I said, tell them to go to Mississippi.
Loud and clear. Loud and clear. All right.
The birthplace of black culture in America. Tell them to go there. Watch what they do.
Yeah, we'll see.
FBA just ran their mouth. Them people that call themselves FBA and ADOS, they're internet clowns. Them, Megyn Kelly, and all of MAGA. They all the same. Fuck them all.
Imagine I never thought we would get to a point where we have, I know, Brother Bakar, you don't want to call them brothers and sisters, but, we have people, brothers, I'm going to call them brothers and sisters, that side with individuals that want to destroy us. But nonetheless, we still move. All right. Speaking of move, we'll move on to Shoot the Breeze topic number 4. And we're asking a question about AI. For those that don't know, AI standing for artificial intelligence. Bakari, you might not like this, but another celebrity is making buzzworthy news. Dave Chappelle, a stand-up comedian from the United States, was asked about artificial intelligence, and he had some remarks. Black Steel, this topic will also be of interest to you, being an educator. He talked about children and AI and the future of AI and what it holds. So this accompanies us with a video from Twitter X. Stand by.
I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. You know, it's funny. Okay, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and we were laughing about how no one really would know what to teach a kid now. What skill sets are going to matter 10 or 20 years from now, as the world becomes automated and everything is just changing. So we decided that your character is your destiny. You know what I mean? Just like, if you're a good person, that's pretty much all you can ask from anybody, and hope for the best. I don't know if anyone needs to think anymore.
What do you mean by that? The machines are doing all the work for it?
It's AI, it's quantum computing. It just seems like thinking is for poor people. It's a joke, by the way. I forgot where I was. but it's true. It's just like who's, no one reads books anymore. It's just so different from when I grew up. It's funny. Okay, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and we were laughing about how no one really would know what to teach a kid now. What skill sets are going to matter 10 or 20 years from now, as the world becomes automated and everything is just changing. So we decided that your character is your destiny. You know what I mean? Just like, if you're a good person, that's pretty much all you can ask from anybody, and hope for the best. I don't know if anyone needs to think anymore.
What do you mean by that? The machines are doing all the work for it?
It's AI, it's quantum computing. It just seems like thinking is for poor people. It's a joke, by the way. I forgot where I was. but it's true. It's just like who's, no one reads books anymore. It's just so different from when I grew up.
Once again, if you're just joining in, Jack Cadero proudly filling in for Brother Koku here on Shoot the Breeze episode 247 on the Bitter Medicine Podcast. Hit the like button if you haven't already. We're getting into our 4th topic of the night, and it asks, Shoot the Breeze topic number 4, will anyone have to think anymore? This was accompanied with a video from PBS News. It is a stand-up comedian, Dave Chappelle, giving his thoughts on AI and alluding to that in the future, maybe near future, again, 10, 20 years, depending on how you look at it, people won't have to think anymore. And that he joked, thinking will be for the poor. Anthony, first, welcome to the panel. We have a new panelist. Anthony, welcome to the panel tonight. And also, how are you? Hope everything is well. And what say you from what you've heard? Will anyone have to think anymore?
Yeah. Hey, what's going on, Jack Cadero? How you doing, brother?
What's up? What's up?
Yeah. Peace to the panel, man, and to everybody in the chat, man. But first of all, I just want to say, I want to make a correction by somebody said so. I just want to make a correction. Louisiana, the home of black culture in America. Okay, we're gonna say that. Louisiana, the home of black culture. Okay.
Hey, I understand y'all feel that way,
but hey, but seriously though, man, on this, but this is a perfect example of why you don't need to listen to these Negro celebrities, man. You know what I'm saying? With Dave Chappelle know better than that, man. His mother was a Pan-Africanist. You know what I'm saying? His mother, I know that his mother taught him better than that. About which I understand where he's coming from talking about the AI thing, but to me, this whole AI thing and everything is like it's a distraction. It's a distraction type thing, man. It's a tool for distraction to keep people's minds on, some other than where it need to be at. You know what I'm saying? But of course you're gonna have to think, man, you're gonna have to think. I mean, it's gonna be the ones who stop thinking gonna be the ones who gonna get victimized. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, of course you're gonna have to think, man. Whatever kind of AI, whatever kind of technology they have in the past, in the future, still human beings are human beings. People are people, you know what I'm saying? That ain't gonna change. Black people, the situation for you ain't gonna change unless you make a change yourself. You know what I'm saying? And all over the world, man. So I mean, nah, man. Of course you're gonna have to think for yourself, man. You're gonna always have to think. You have to use your mind, man. This is just a bunch of foolishness to me, man. Like I said, Dave Chappelle know better than that. I'll leave it at that, man.
I appreciate it. Appreciate it, Anthony, the representative from Louisiana. In the chat, Jamrock Kid, welcome to the chat, says, what is important to teach as political philosophy? Pan-Africanism, Katha Wakatha, critical thinking, and hard skills you can use. Our people got through slavery, so pretty much anything can be overcome. Brother Bakari says, I don't like Dave Chappelle. Culture Education says, we will still read books, and we still read books. Absolutely. I got a great book collection. Trigger Happy says, Congo Square in reference to Louisiana. Brother Bakari, it looks like you have some opposition here. Lord of Slaughter says, this is why I emphasize back to Africa, where humans are still valued. Well, again, let's keep the conversation going. Black Steel, you're an educator. What say you on Dave Chappelle? Will anybody have to think anymore based on what you've heard?
Man, nobody gives a fuck what Dave Chappelle is talking about, man. I'm sorry. I gotta be real with you, man. Nobody gives a damn what he talking about, man. So listen, right? So growing up, one of my favorite movies was The Terminator, right? That was one of my favorite movies. And one thing in science fiction that I always talk about is machines taking over. From The Matrix to Terminator to I Am Legend to Dune. Everything is all about the machines taking over. What was that one show my kid looked at? Wally. The people have become dependent on machines. The machines have taken over. The machines are now controlling humanity. In The Terminator, the machines launch a nuclear strike against the world. In The Matrix, the machines take over humanity and put the rest of the world in a simulation, and they use our brain power. It's always something about the machines. And now we say the machines is doing the thinking for us. I've seen enough science fiction to know this is a bad thing. Okay. Machines, AI use, most people are against it. They know the data centers, they use up fresh water, they pollute, they overheat. So many people are against the AI data centers. They're removing the phones and stuff from school, so the kids have to actually work instead of looking up the answers on their phone. They're handing out suspensions and stuff for being on your phone. I mean, it's gotten to that point. So I don't glorify AI. I don't think it's going to replace human thinking. And there have been situations where people have been identified for crime. It was a black man who was basically arrested for a carjacking in Florida, and he was from North Carolina. So they pulled his picture. They pulled a picture, and it had an 85% match. They locked this man up for months. He lost his home. He lost his job. But it was because of AI. AI was what sanctioned him, right? So AI is not a good thing. It's not something that's meant to benefit people. There are some uses to it, but the whole idea, people aren't gonna think, man, listen, we're in an age of technological barbarism. These people will use technology and create algorithms to murder millions of people, which they've already started to do. They match your picture to a database. They can instruct the drone to kill you, kill your family. So I'm not too excited about the use of AI. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to end up in one of them pods in the Matrix. I'm not trying to fight the Terminators. And I'm not trying to do that. So yeah, I'm not trying. Anybody listen to what Dave Chappelle say? He's funny sometimes. Other times he's a dickhead. But I think that money, I think now that he's rich, he always talks about how rich he is. Brother, don't you understand that it only takes a few bad movies, a few bad paychecks for you to be brought back in the street with us. So please chill out. Don't forget where you come from. And that's it. But no, I'm not too gung ho about this AI because I've seen those movies. So we already got, what country? That's in Palestine. That's in Lebanon. That's all. They're already doing that in the Middle East. They had the pagers blow up to kill those people. They killed children blowing those pagers up. So yes, that's already going on in the world. So coming to a theater near you, they're gonna start using that technology to kill people already. I'll leave it there. Thanks.
Appreciate it, Black Steel. Yeah, AI is something insane. Something insane. Not only just Lebanon, but also Iran. Prior to this war, there was that report on. Man, I don't know if I can summarize it in 10 seconds, but they were able to have a gun shoot off a top general in Iran. Israel was using AI, and to this day, people are still trying to figure out how did they do that? How did they? But I mean, that maybe is a topic for another day. In the chat, Lord Slaughter says the people who love this computer age will be robots, so their consciousness will live on. There's a black guy, Lord Slaughter. I want to tell you this. There's a black guy that I should have put it in today's topics, but there's a black guy that was one of the recipients, voluntary recipient of Elon Musk's Neuralink. And he's pretty much acting like a robot. Who knows? Maybe if we get time, maybe I'll show you guys a clip of him. But it's just so weird. I didn't think that growing up that I would see people voluntarily want to have chips planted into their brains. But here we are. Trigger Happy says, I've already been using AI militaristically, and they're shipping it worldwide. They used a bot to get rid of Michael Richards, I believe. Yeah, it was a robot. And thank you, Trigger Happy, to remind me about that. Yeah, it was a robot, and I wouldn't be surprised if now every police department across the U.S. Uses the robots, for scenes like what Michael Richards in Dallas had. Brother Bakari, everything that you've heard, everything that you saw with Dave Chappelle on this interview at PBS, what say you? Will people have to think anymore, or is Dave Chappelle just full of BS?
Well, hopefully people still use their brain. Dave Chappelle been full of BS, just not this interview. He been full of bullshit. I don't know how people didn't figure him out. Let me go. Can I go back right quick? Right? So watch this. Dave Chappelle married to one of them chinks, right? From somewhere. He said his wife told him she don't like, Asian people don't like when he cracked the slant-eye jokes. So he promised his wife he'll never crack or demean another Asian person. But he'll stand.
Is that wait? Is that real? This is real?
Yes. But he'll stand on that stage and call you the N-word all day. But anyway, I don't listen to nothing Dave Chappelle say. Hopefully people still use their brains. That's your strongest muscle. So they won't have to think anymore. Are they doing a lot with AI? Yes, they are doing a lot with AI. Somebody is thinking for AI. So what he's saying is, poor folk ain't gonna have to think no more. Now he believed his little financial situation. He ain't in the same boat. But rich folks, billionaires gonna be thinking for everybody with AI. They're gonna be doing everything. But yes, people should. Yes, people will still have to think. God, okay, how big AI get? You still have to use your brain. You got to see, we need to be using our brain now to know how to combat some of this bullshit. Pardon my French. That's all I have to say about that. And oh yeah, before I step down, see, you didn't read my you didn't put my you didn't put mine up on it on you didn't read what I posted in the chat, Jackadero, because you talking about the Congo Square. See, we got the hometown, Mississippi. We got New Africa, Mississippi, and we are the capital of the Republic of New Africa. So all your music, your everything came from their black culture in Mississippi with them blues and everything. Louisiana is good. I respect Louisiana, but
yeah, for those that don't that aren't
for the record, blues started in Louisiana too.
No.
For those that aren't able to see the screen, Brother Bakari says Mississippi, or no, Louisiana has Congo Square in New Orleans, but Mississippi has Dahomey Town and New Africa. So I apologize, Brother Bakari. Any last remarks about this this whole thought from Dave Chappelle on AI and not having to use our brains, and that thinking will only be for poor people? Any last remarks, gentlemen? Okay. All right. In the chat, Trigger Happy says, we love the friendly competition. Goku 911 is being an instigator with saying, fight, fight, fight. Well, I didn't think we were going to be at number 5 so quick. So we might have a 6th topic, depending on how this goes. But this is a little lighthearted one. It comes to us and is asking if he has a point. This is a comedian giving a statement about the dynamics between men and women, believe it or not. And so he's on stage and he gives a stand-up on you know, it's one thing, you know, for us as men, you know, we don't, because we're men, we don't necessarily like have the perspective of a woman. We don't even consider that. But nonetheless, this is a video clip that is brought to us by, let me see if it's X or not. Yes, Twitter X. And he's asking, if the roles were reversed, how would men act? So this is interesting that we have an all-male panel, and we don't need to. Ladies, if you want to get involved in this conversation, especially this last one, Shoot the Breeze topic number 5 asks, does he have a point? Ladies, click the link pinned to the top of the chat. Get in the StreamYard access point to go ahead and get involved in this conversation. It might be the last one. We have time. If we have time, we'll get into a 6th one as well. But this is brought to us by a video from Twitter X. Let's take a listen.
With just 2 of us. Imagine we live in a universe where you born with just 200 nuts to bust. Think about it. Think about it. You've been walking around infinite your whole life. You ain't never had to count them. You know what I'm saying? You ain't never had to worry about running out. Yeah. You need to have a lot more sympathy for women. right? Because they born with all the eggs they gonna ever have, right? And by the time they hit puberty, their body is destroying them shits every single month. Oh, nobody came in, you suffer, bitch, suffer. So every time you want to be like, man, this bitch crazy. No, she's disappearing from the inside. From the inside. That's stressful. Like, you're never gonna have a homie venting to you, like going through a divorce or something. He's like, you know what? Fuck Elizabeth. I wasted 75 nuts on that bitch. I gave her my best nuts. She just walked away, Or imagine you at work, like, hey man, what's going on with Doug, man? He's usually so upbeat. Like, what's going on with you? Hey, between us, man, quiet as kept. He on his final 5, man. Yeah. He started menopause last week, and he kept saying he was hot. We got it on 65, and
all right. Once again, if you're just joining in, I am Jacadero, proudly filling in for Brother Koku. Here on Shoot the Breeze, episode 247 on the Bitter Medicine Podcast. Hit the like button if you haven't already. That was a stand-up comedian. I don't know his name. Otherwise, I would give him a shout out. Hopefully, his vulgar language did not turn any of you off. But it's Shoot the Breeze topic number 5 asks, does he have a point? The comedian was asking if the amount of ejaculation was limited to a man's life. Would we think different about the way that we act? We'll start off with the educator, Black Steel. I always want to hear from you first, man, when it comes to these type of educational conversations. Does he have a point, or is this just nonsense?
I think it's an interesting perspective. I don't hate it. I think it's interesting. I don't know. That seems interesting to me, that thought process. Like, if you had a limit, you would be more selective. And I agree with him. I'm not going to waste. I'm not going to waste anything. And I guess that's the way the world works and how nature has built the man. So, but I think that's a pretty funny thing. I think we may want to. It would probably make us a little bit more selective. Yes, I agree. But the thing is, women can still enjoy, intercourse. They just can't. Maybe they can't always get pregnant. And maybe that's not such a bad thing. They can still enjoy it. They just can't, maybe they say they're wasting their eggs or whatever. Okay. I hear what he said. I think that's an interesting perspective, though. Very interesting perspective. I thought that was a good joke. But again, I don't know if I would feel the same way if I was in a woman's position. But yeah, you have to watch what you do and who you do it with, because you don't want to, And also, too, I think also to his question about the limited window of fertility and things like that, it's just interesting. But no, very good joke. Very good joke. I like that. I'll leave it there. Thanks.
All right, in the chat, appreciate it, Black Steel. In the chat, let's see here. Lord of Slaughter says, in reference to the previous conversation, the battle or the competition of the cradle of Black civilization in the United States. Is it Louisiana? Is it Memphis? Is it not Memphis, Mississippi? Lord of Slaughter says, wait a minute now. We got Oyotunji Village here in North Carolina. I thought it was in South Carolina, but Lord of Slaughter, maybe you know more than I do. Lord of Slaughter also adds, the African women are the bloodline and the doorways from the ether of our ancestors. And then Culture Education says, Lord, it's Oyotunji in South Carolina. See, I thought it was South Carolina. Maybe we're lost, huh? Trigger Happy says, it's just a clear perspective of nature. Men have a strong drive to reproduce consistently. Women have to be selective because they are receptive. And then Lord of Slaughter says, Carolina was originally one state. I see you, Lord of Slaughter, moving the goalpost. I like that. Anthony, what say you from what you heard from the stand-up? Does he have a point, or is this just pure nonsense?
Okay, well, to me it was this bullshit. I mean, well, he pretty much lost me with all of the, with the B word shit. Calling women bitches. I got a thing about that. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, it's comedy. You got a little joke in, whatever. I don't, and I guess some people could see a logic and whatever. I don't know. I really couldn't take it seriously though, man. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, I think that last comment that you said about the woman being selected, I thought that was something more important, important to me than what he was saying though. So no, I don't know. I really didn't it didn't really resonate with me, really, man, because he lost me, if it was a more deeper conversation or something, like you hear some comedians do, but he was all with the this and all that. And so that kind of turned me off anyway, though. So I really didn't pay attention to it.
I appreciate it, Anthony. Brother Bakari, maybe you did get LOL in the
I
chat.
can say this.
What say you?
If you was born with just 300 nuts, there wouldn't be no jacking off when you're a teenager. Motherfuckers be like, I got to say this. I want me some baby. I got to say this for my wife. Oh, but other than that, I just saw it as I saw it as comedy. I saw it as comedy. He cracked a couple of good jokes. So yeah, is it like I said? Is like Black Steel said? Is an interesting perspective. But I also say all that love. I'm telling you, people stop playing with themselves when they live. But that's all I got to say about it.
All right, a little quick one. I figured that that this one would be quick. Let's see here. Lord of Slaughter in the chat says men should be selective as the woman will be your child's guardian if something happened to you. And then Koku 911 says 100. Hopefully, if you guys got anything, not necessarily the panel, but any of you watching, especially you young men, I was fortunate enough in my 20s that I didn't have any children. Here in my 30s, I don't have any children either. But, one of the things that I was taught when I was younger is, be careful who you lay with, because that could ultimately either make or break the happiness in your life. As men, we're taught, to be strong, and that's fine. I actually agree with that, but it doesn't necessarily mean we need to be miserable. And, the friends of mine or the acquaintances that I have, some of them are miserable because of the mother of their children, whether or not they're having baby mama drama issues or they can't get to do what they want to do on a given day because they're stuck with the child. And so maybe if you got anything from that stand-up is that, you don't necessarily have only 200 ejaculations in your life, but that one ejaculation can alter and determine on how you live the rest of your life. As men, we're supposed to be risk takers. Can you take a risk now, that you're a father? So any last remarks, Black Steel, Brother Bakari, Anthony?
Yeah, Jackadero. It was just interesting something that you were saying about, like, you saw about some of your homeboys or some of your friends. Okay, yeah. You said check it out. You said that like some were like say, well, stuck, were miserable because like being stuck with the child. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, this is what I'm saying. Is that a thing? I'm stuck with a child. You know what I mean? This is a child that you brought into the world. That's and I'm stuck with it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I love all my children. I'm glad they're here.
It may not be so much stuck with the child, Anthony, but it may be just to get along with that child's mother, right?
Okay, I get that part, but like I'm saying at the beginning, okay, this goes back, okay, to something you said there. Okay, you need to check who you get with first. Okay, you need to know who you get. Know the lady you get with, and vice versa. For the woman, you need to know the man you get with. But like I'm saying, shouldn't you have thought of this? You thought of this before you lay down with this woman. You know what I'm saying? Before y'all had a child together. You know what I'm saying? Okay, let me think of this here. Am I ready to settle down? Am I ready to be a father? Be a responsible father and all this here. Or do I still want to sow my wild oats? You got to think about all of that. To me, like that's on you. You know what I'm saying? That's on you. Was when you said like the way you said about like being stuck with a child, man, the child didn't ask to be here. You know what I'm saying? That's your fault. You know what I'm saying? You should have put a condom on. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you should have made better choices. So I mean, that part right there. I'm like, that's the kind of thing I can't understand. Cause like I know some of us on this panel, we fathers, we got children. You know what I'm saying? And I know quite sure, I'm quite sure that all of us love our children, and especially with us brothers having black conscious minds and everything. That's a joy to us. We ain't gonna never think like, oh man, I'm stuck with the child. Okay, you have a problem with your baby mama. Okay, that's not something that can't be worked out. You know what I'm saying? Because see, I'm imagining in my mind that if you're a black conscious brother, you pretty much gonna deal with a black conscious sister. Or somewhere a sister somewhere adjacent to that. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean that's what I do. I always think about the woman I'm gonna deal with. And she got to have build on the same kind of political mind and mind that I have. I just choose somebody. I go somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna choose a woman who has a like mind. Okay. We got some of the common interests. No, we for black people. We got the one that she got to love black people. So I'm gonna be with somebody who has that same kind of mind. What I'm saying, if you're getting with people who don't have the same kind of interests as you, what I mean? What do you expect? You're gonna have trouble like that. You're gonna run into stuff like that. And then I understand, you're gonna run into sometimes we run into man and woman trouble sometimes. We have different ways of doing things or whatever. But I'm just saying, that part right there, though, that kind of like got on my skin a little bit. Not you, Jack Darrell, but saying what the brother said, about I'm stuck with the child. You got to think about that before you make, because the child ain't responsible for that. That's not the child's fault. No, that's all I want to say, bro.
Yeah, no worries. The brother that I'm talking about, he traditionally married the mother of his children, and so things didn't. How can I explain this? At some point, things were not well. They're not together anymore, but at some point, things were so not good that I think I could be wrong, but I think they were now sleeping in separate bedrooms. But we had planned a trip. It was a guy's trip, and it was agreed, I guess, that she was going to watch their two sons. And so the day of the trip, he gives us a call and says, guys, I can't go because she stopped answering the phone, and they still live in the same house. So, it's stuff like that that believe it or not, Anthony, my generation is having issues about. Because he married a girl from not just black, he married a girl from his tribe. He's a South Sudanese brother, and he thought the world of her. And then in the end, it didn't work out the way that he envisioned. But you guys are older than me, so maybe if he's listening, maybe you guys can give him some game, because I think it's been over 2 years that they haven't been together, and I think it almost went to custody court. While you guys think about that, let's read the chat here. In the chat, Lord of Slaughter says, like a woman can end your family's bloodline by raising a gangster hooligan. Because if they don't reproduce or choose someone who's as bad as their mother, your bloodline of 300,000 years could end. Sheesh. Cheryl, what's going on? Cheryl in the chat. Welcome, Cheryl. She says 90% of relationships are ideological, whether people want to acknowledge this or not. I guess I would like some elaboration on that. What do you mean by ideological? Like the idea of a relationship? And then Trigger Happy in the chat says it's too important how that child grows up largely depends on the temperament of the person. Hell, even the temperament of the family surrounding that person is important. This used to happen in pre-colonial Africa. I don't know if it still happens now, but at least in my tribe, if my sister was being asked for the hand in marriage, me and the rest of my brothers, we would go and live with that guy's family for like a month just to see how they interact with each other, how they treat other people. Because if they were a quote unquote, what's the word? If they didn't come from a good family, then we could just end it right then and there and say, hey, we'll be damned if we allow our sister. I don't know if that's practiced so much. I doubt that nowadays, just because, if it's not people getting married because of financial reasons, it's love. It's that Roman love that we talk about. But to hear speak more about love, it sounds like we got Amma pulling up to the chat. What's up, Amma? Welcome to the Bitter Medicine panel here on episode 247. How are you? Hope everything is well. And yeah, let's go ahead and hear your thoughts about this current conversation. I think you're muted on your end, Amma. I think you're muted on your end. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Now we can hear you.
Okay, sorry. It must have been my Bluetooth. Okay. So yeah, I don't know what the original question was, but just speaking on what I just wrote in the chat, what I mean by ideological, so for instance, if one parent wants the child to be homeschooled and the other parent doesn't, you're gonna have problems. If one parent is materialistic and the other one is not, like immediately, like you're gonna like I'm just trying to think of like a whole bunch of examples. If you are conscious minded and you make a conscious decision to buy black, and you're not afraid of your own people, and you try to move away from your people, and you try to live in a white neighborhood and leave your own people behind, and this type of thing, and you have one parent that's like that and you have another parent that's like, well, we got to give back to our community. Running away is not going to solve anything. If you have two people that are opposite minded like that, it's not going to work. I don't care how good of a friendship you have. It's never going to work. And I think a lot of the times, like people they run into these type of things. Like if you're a type of person, so this is a common one. So like, okay, so like my husband and I, we agree ideologically. Now, do we have arguments? Of course. Like we argue like cats and dogs, but it's about like little stuff. Like, like around the house. It's like, oh, you clean these dishes? Why ain't you clean these dishes? Blah 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 blah. Like, typical married people stuff. But at the end of the day, we can come to an understanding of how we want to raise our children and what our end goal is, what we're trying to do, just not with not just with our children, but just in life in general. We have a total understanding when it comes to that. And I think a lot of people don't think that's important, and a lot of black people don't like politics. And when you're talking about raising children, you can't avoid politics. Like when these like things are happening to black people getting lynched every single day and stuff like this, and you're just like, oh well, I'm gonna still have I'm gonna still have my YT friends. I don't care what's going on because my YT friends are not like that. And you got the other parent that's just like, nah, we need to stay away from them. Like these are these little conversations that we think are not important, but are very important, and that they're very political. But we like to try to avoid politics because I notice on like dating shows and stuff, when you're talking to people, they like to try to like avoid like talking about those things. You can't avoid it. But I think that's that, and also finances, obviously money. But I would say less money because black people have been like with each other. They were more likely to be with each other. Like if you look in the early 1900s, black people are staying together. Like you looking at like during slavery time, black men and women are staying together. So yes, finances is a problem, but um, I don't think it's the end all be all of black people staying together in a relationship. So there's just a lot. There's a whole bunch of dynamics going on. But I think, like I said, ideologically, if you do not agree, if you're not on the same page with that person, it's not going to work. So I'm gonna end it there.
Man, I wish I'm not married, so I can't add too much to that conversation. But yeah. Ugh. All right, let's get to the comments. In the comment, the matron, what's going on? The matron, welcome to the show. Matron says, love is the least reason to get married. Ideologically, family, compatibility, and economic reasons are better reasons for a marriage than romantic love. But with these days, we can say that, but people are saying, hey, you're cute, I'm cute, we get along, let's go ahead and do this. Trigger Happy says, honestly, the best relationships are the ones in which you talk about everything controversial first and get that out of the way. Is it easy? We can say these things, but is it easy? I guess let me ask you, Amma, since you're relevant right now. What was it about your husband and you guys that said, yes, we can do this, if it wasn't romantic or Roman love in the sense?
So one of our very first conversations was surrounding the fact that we knew that it was something wrong with America, and we knew we didn't want to stay here for the rest of our lives. Like that was like I can't remember exactly what happened, but we're like, yo, it's something wrong with this place. It's a problem. Like it, we just know we gotta go. We gotta get out of here. And you got all these I don't know, you just got all these white people are just like, well, if you want to go, then you should go. And you know what? I would gladly take them up. We both of us, we're just like, we'll gladly take them up on that offer. Because guess what? We just came back from Jamaica. We were there for almost a month. And the biggest thing I realized about living outside of America is maybe your infrastructure isn't as great. Okay. I'll take that. Take that one on the head, on the nose, but on the chin. But your quality of food and water far superior than the United States, just on that alone. So for us, it's just we don't need to live in luxury. We don't need. I'm not materialistic. I don't need to live, how some people are living. I don't need to be constantly comparing myself to other people, to other black people, and like it's like a rat race in America. And nobody takes the time to slow down. Everybody admires hard work, quote unquote hard work, but they literally work like slaves. For what? And some people may be able to say, I have a nice house in America and I have this and I have this type of car and that. But these people are not as happy as they portray. And so these are the type of conversations that we have. Um and it's just it's so much more. But it's just we seriously, yes, Lord of Slaughter, like we got to get out of here. It's awful for us, mind, body, and spirit, like especially with the food, because food is tied to health and health is tied to healthcare. So like America is a system, the type of system where they will keep you sick with the food just so that they can profit off of you in the hospital. So, like, other countries aren't like that. Like, you get natural, The fruit is fresh, it's locally grown. You don't got to worry about pesticides. That alone will make me want to leave America. That alone. I don't care about infrastructure and all that. Infrastructure will come. All right. If that's all we basing uh how the value of a country on, if that we're just basing it on roads, like people like to say, well, Canada has good roads and good healthcare, but not really. It's not great. It's not great for black people. All the black people that moved and immigrated to Canada, they got all type of health problems that they would never have if they stayed their ass in the Caribbean. And I understand, like, don't get me wrong, I understand why people move abroad and they move overseas because they want to create a better life, yada yada yada. But you got to go back. And what's good though is like people are moving back and everything like that. But it's not enough. It's not enough people. The brain drain is still very real. You don't have enough people with skills that are moving back. So I think that's something that we could focus on. And I'm just telling you all of this because these are the type of conversations that we have. But I could talk more, but I'm gonna just end it there.
I appreciate it, Emma, and congratulations on your guys' union, man. That's powerful. Believe it or not, you might be inspiring people. Lord of Slaughter says, yeah, we got to get out of here. We got to get out of here. Trigger Happy says, if you are a Pan-African nationalist and you marry a non-Pan-African nationalist, you will face incompatibilities. I'd assume so, but I could be wrong. Again, I'm not a relationship expert. I'm not even married nonetheless. Trigger Happy says, health is important too. Dating people who say let's have chronic diseases in their family would be the standard for many who are serious. For a man who are serious, I'm not sure. But he adds, the social life of many African countries are far superior to that of the West. Lord of Slaughter adds, she's spitting them facts. Absolutely, man. All right. Well, we have time for one more. This one doesn't necessarily require a lot of debate. At least I don't think so. But then again, that's why we have this show. So Shoot the Breeze episode 247, our last Shoot the Breeze topic. And it just it's a proclamation, really. And it says, we are all connected. And it's brought to you by an Instagram video where one individual showed on how many different African tribes or ethnicities share. Not just share in language, but share in culture. Again, this is just one of many language or cultural groups that are tied in Africa. As you guys know, Africa is made of 54 countries. And then in that, there's countries that have as much as like 60 plus African tribes and ethnicities. So let's go to Instagram where this video is. And again, this is more of a proclamation, but if you want to add on your thoughts, please feel free to do so. And again, this is more of just a feel good, just to end the night. Huh? How about it? Let's take a listen.
And we do not say tree, but we say umti, umuti, muti, 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 omuti, muti, muti, omuti, omuti, mti, muchi, muti, muti, nti, muti, omuti. If you enjoyed today's video, click the link on my profile. It will direct you to my YouTube channel. And on YouTube, I'll be posting longer and much more educational videos. You will learn more about Abantu. We are not just a language family. We are genetically related, and of which I'm working on a beautiful video. So do not miss out. Go to my YouTube channel, Bantu Bison.
Hey, once again, if you are just joining in, I am Jacadero, proudly filling in for Brother Koku here on Shoot the Breeze episode 247. We're at the back end of the show. What were you doing this entire time if you're just joining us? But I understand if you're busy, especially working hard as a Pan-African nationalist. on our sixth and last Shoot the Breeze topic. It's a proclamation, really, but if you want to add your own thoughts, saying we are all connected. And that video from Instagram showed on how many different African nationalities and tribes say the same word for the term tree. Again, tree, where sometimes fruits grow out of, and even sometimes where people hang out on. Huh? And look at that. Muti or umti or umunti. Huh? Especially for my panelists that are in the United States, as I am. Maybe also you could elaborate. Is there some words that you've come across that are in different states that you've traveled and it's meaning the same thing, but maybe it's just a related word? We'll start off with Brother Bakari. Did this video show you or affirm that we are all connected? And then is there anything that in your travels here in the United States that shows you Black people, we pretty much are saying the same thing, but just using different words or related words?
Hey, come back to me.
No worries, no worries. Anthony, what say you from this video? Same question.
Well, yeah, okay. Yeah, I like the video. Okay, yeah. Okay, obviously, if we think about it, African people have always moved around. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying Africans on the continent. We always moved around. Now, like say, for instance, like the Bantu people, what we say are people who speak Bantu languages, whatever. Okay. Now, when we think of Bantu people, we think a lot of time we think of in Southern Africa, like the Zulu people or the Ndebele people, Swazi people, and those different Bantu groups in Southern Africa. But that the Bantu people started up in West Central Africa, even in parts of areas like Cameroon and in Nigeria, parts of Nigeria where Nigeria and Cameroon meet, in the Congo Basin in Angola, that area of West Central Africa. And over a period of time, Bantu people started migrating south, migrating in different areas. You have some Bantu people who went east. You know what I'm saying? You into Tanzania, Kenya, the East Africa, the Great Lakes region, that area, and some went south. You know what I'm saying? And you could tell in the language where you have these names like for example, like the Zulu people. Now the Zulu people a lot of times refer to themselves as Amazulu. It's Amazulu, AMA, Amazulu. Or you hear words like Ba, like the Basotho people. You know what I'm saying? Or the Botswana people. These kind of names like this. All of these are names that were connected to that went back into to the Congo region, to the Congo Basin, what is now the Congo DRC. That area, a lot of those names, you see a lot of those same kind of names, prefixes, of ethnic groups' names in the Congo, that you see them in Southern Africa, in a parts of East Africa, for example, you know what I'm saying? So, and another thing you see, like I was talking to this brother from Uganda. His name's he has a channel on YouTube. His name is Eli Wananda. He's from Uganda, but he's based in the UK now. He does a lot of great work. And me and him was talking, so I was greeting him one day. Now I know that he spoke Kiswahili. So I greeted him one day. I was trying to be slick. I greeted him. I was trying to see because he figured out what I was saying. So I greeted him in an Igbo greeting. You know what I'm saying? It was an Igbo greeting that I used. And so and then he looked at, he was saying, "Oh, the word looks familiar." He was trying to say, "It looked like." He was asking me, "Was it Kiswahili?" I was saying, "No, it was an Igbo word." So we had a discussion about that very topic, about how a lot of words that African people use in different parts of the continent sound similar or have the same kind of meaning. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's definitely a thing. It's definitely a thing among African people. You can see those. Sheikh and Joe talking about that cultural continuity among African people. But like I think the biggest thing that I could come away with that something that ties like Black people not only on the continent but Black people in the diaspora here in the United States, in the Caribbean, and all over the Black world is one thing that all of us Black people do. And we don't understand it though. I mean, they even had a little mini documentary about it. all of us know one thing. When I'm walking down the street and Jagadero, you walking down the street, what black people do? We look at each other and we throw that head up. You know what I'm saying? We do that head nod. It don't matter wherever we are, we gonna do that. Whether I'm a black American and you are a continental African or a brother from Haiti or Jamaica, or whatever, when we see each other, we don't even have to speak and talk to each other. But we know one thing that we do. We look at each other and we throw that head back. You know what I'm saying? And it was this brother on this little documentary that I had. It was a little small documentary. He was I think it's from Nigeria. And he was saying that this is something that Africans do on the continent, particularly in West Africa. You know where he was from. I guess he was talking about where he was from. But he said this is something that we always did. It was just an African thing, like an Igbo thing, a Yoruba thing. It was an African thing. And so that's something right there that connects all of us. And everywhere you go, it don't matter wherever you go, and y'all all know it. When black people meet, if we in a place where there's a whole bunch of white folks, a whole bunch of non-black people, we be happy as hell when we see one of us. You know what I'm saying? And we look at each other, and what we do? We throw that head with that head, dog. I'll leave it right there.
I appreciate it, Anthony. And yeah, I go out of my way to do the head nod. I go out of my way. I make sure, hey, if I'm passing you at the grocery store, gas station, dentist's office, I make sure, man, hey, yo, I'm giving that head nod just to let you know, hey, we're in this together. In the chat, before we get into Cheryl's thoughts, she says, yes, forms of facial expression. Absolutely. Trigger Happy says, it is way more likely that Africa encompasses a language area that subsumes most of Africa instead of fragmented regions like Bantu or Niger, Congo, or Nilo-Saharan. And then a truth.
Excuse me, Jagadero.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just for a minute, I just wanted to throw that word. No, I was telling you about the brother. I was saying I gave the Igbo greeting. The word was Udo Nyangozi. That's what it was. Udo Nyangozi.
Yeah,
it means peace and blessings. It means peace and blessings. It's from the Igbo language.
Look at that. Look at that, huh? Look at that. Anthony, the linguist. Real Truth and Power says race first. Race first, family from Brother Everett. What's up, Brother Everett, man? How are you doing? And Trigger Happy says we've had these prompts before, but Kamji Verse had a good channel speaking to this. Theophile Obanga also has a book that deals with African historical linguists. Man, true indeed. Sister Amma, what say you? We are all connected. Again, this is a proclamation, but maybe you have something to add to this. And then also being in the United States, have you come across just similarities among African Americans, Black Americans in the United States where they were saying the same thing but using different words or saying similar words to mean the same thing?
Yeah, you know what? There are a lot of examples of actual words. I don't know them off the top of my head, but what I do know is something that I notice Black people do in America that they do on the continent. Like when you're trying to put emphasis on something, like you're trying to say, "Oh, well, this is amazing." Like or you're trying to say like you can say like this is amazing or this is really bad. That's like the English way of saying it. But a lot of times Black people in the States will say, is it good or is it bad? Like we'll put emphasis on we'll say the word twice to put emphasis on it. And people on the continent do that. I think I've heard like people on the continent, they'll do it in their own language, but to put emphasis on how they feel about something, they'll repeat it twice. I don't know if you guys have experience with that.
Yeah, you're actually talking to somebody who speaks an African language, and yeah, that's common in Swahili. The word for sorry is pole, Pole. So when I double it and say pole pole, that means slowly. And I can tell somebody, hey, enda pole pole, meaning go slowly. I mean, there's many. So man, I'm glad that you know that. Big shout out to you.
Because we do it all the time. Like that's a very common thing. Also, again, these are not like specific words that can be directly translated, but also like all right, this is very common like in the South. Like you'll see it up north too, but when you're talking and you're talking fast or you're trying to get something out quickly, you'll drop the R in words, or you don't people would say, "Oh, you're not speaking proper, but you speak in slang." Like that guy is a killer. Like we'll drop the R. You see what I'm saying? Like that's just one example. Like we'll take the R because it takes too much to pronounce R. That's like a very English thing to do. Like that's a very like European, like when we take the R out, like white people will be like, "Oh, you're speaking that slang." Like you're speaking that Ebonics. That's part of Ebonics. Like you don't put emphasis on the word because it takes when you enunciate. Well, they call it enunciation for them, but when you do that, like for them, that's speaking proper. But for us, it's more about what we're trying to say versus how we're saying it. We're trying to get a point across. We're not worried about like how it sounds. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that has fascinated me, again, I grew up in the States, but I wasn't born in the States. And one of the things that my dad got really upset at me about when I was younger was I used to say axe because I heard my Black American, African American friends say axe. Hey, I asked you a question. And then he would.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah. No, that's one of those things that kind of like white people, they're like if you're speaking, they'll be like, it's not X, it's ask. But that's too much. That's just too, it's too there's so many words that are like that in English, and we just kind of even what I just said just now, like kinda, like I didn't say kind of, I said kinda. Like we'll blend words and stuff like that. Like we'll blend kind and of, and we'll say kinda. Like
one of the things that I really love is again, like, I grew up in the States, but my Black friends would always say, like, you see what I'm talking about? And I'm like, wait a minute. I went home once and I was like,
that's not how you say it. What are you talking about? Like that's too much.
well, I'm talking about. I'm like, do I know what you're talking about?
Right. Or we'll say, instead of saying that, because the TH, oh my God, my parents used to hate. I didn't say that, I would say that. Like, how you do that? How you do that right there? Like, we'll like, because you're just trying to get what you're trying to say out. Ain't nobody got time for all of that. Like, we can't. Some of us just don't do that. Unless we're like speaking we're speaking in a lecture or something, or if you're in a college, you'll do it. But if you're just talking and you're just trying to get a point across, you're not going to say that. We don't emphasize that. We'll just say that thing over there. Go get me that thing. So yeah.
I love it. Anthony, you have you have anything else to add to maybe what Emma was referencing?
Yeah, I was just going to say she damn near took the words out of my mouth. You know what I'm saying? Because like if you listen to Black people, especially like down here in the South, I live in the Southern United States, or you hear Black people in the Caribbean, or Black people in Nigeria, especially like who like the everyday the local people, like who they speak like what they call it Nigerian pidgin or whatever like that. None of us can say the word they. Like I'm gonna say it like that, like they with the TH. We always say what they, where they at.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We always say where they at. Like, it just, well, where they, hey man, where they at? Or where they going, man? You know what I'm saying? Where they at, they. Like the DEY. You know what I'm saying? It's always that it's that same pronunciation. But you in West Africa, parts of West Africa, or the Caribbean, or the Southern United States. You know, so yeah, that's what I was saying. It's words like that, like what the sister was saying. You know that we all had those same pronunciations and things like that. You know, I was growing up, man. My mom, it used to be something like when we kids, like you pick something up that you ain't got no business picking up, or you put it somewhere else. And like my girl would say, set that there right there. Now you know what? Some people wouldn't even know what the hell she said. You know what I'm saying? Hey, set that there right there. Now we know what that means, but like set that there right there. You know, like I'm saying that same thing with the sister was talking about. We don't know how to pronounce that th for nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, before we get into Brother Bakari's thoughts, one of the things that I also really love here in the States is that black people on the phone, before they come over to somebody's house or a gathering, they'll say, "Who all over there?" and it's a code for like asking like it's a code, like it's supposed to be asking like, "Yo, is somebody over there that I don't really mess with?" But like if you're not in the culture, like you have no idea what they're asking you, you know, because if like you just say, "Oh well, I mean everybody's over here," you know, you look like a fool. Everybody's over here. What are you talking about? You know, it's like no. Who all over there? You know, it's like, oh, you know what? Okay, him and her, they over here. All right, okay, I'm so straight on that. And even just saying I'm straight, universally in America, let me not say universally, but all over America, everybody black know what I'm straight means. Hey, you straight? I'm straight. Hey, nah, she not straight, bro. And that has nothing to do with sexuality. That's just like, hey, you straight, bro? Brother Bakari, from what you heard, man, we're all connected. We're just a proclamation. I guess any thoughts on this? Anything? Any examples that you can use? Brother Bakari might be straight on this conversation, huh? Lord Slaughter says, "Who all there pronounce?" I can't even pronounce this. I can't even pronounce. Hey, Anthony, help me out. I can't even pronounce that.
What is that? Who
all there?
over? Who there? We just be like, who there? Well, like you say it in a certain tone. All you got to say is who there. If you say it like that, then we know what you're talking about.
Oh man, we can go on and on, man, but I want to get you guys on with the rest of your guys this weekend. So you know what that means, man. It's time for shout outs, man. Shout out person, place, thing, anything that you got going on, whether it's personal, whether it's public. If you want to keep it private, you can keep it private, but this is your time to shine. We are chivalrous here. That means that yes, we respect one another, especially our women, huh? So come on, being chivalrous Africans, we're gonna allow Amma to go. Not allow. We want you. We encourage you to go first with your shout outs. What shout outs do you have for this week?
Man, so I'm gonna shout out to a place. I'll shout out to the Caribbean, Jamaica in particular, because that was my first time staying. I've been to Jamaica before many times, but that was my first time staying in Kingston. Um, you know, when we travel to places, like a lot of places have their issues. I'm not going to sit up here and be like, oh, everything's perfect, everything's great, because there's always things that we got to work on. A lot of the beaches and everything in Jamaica, they're being bought up by non-black people, and not just Jamaica, but other places too. But there, that should say something about the value of the land. And I think if we just valued the land more, we could come back, and we could, the people, like black people who are Jamaican, Jamaican ancestry, whatever, Caribbean, wherever you come from, go back and invest in your land before all these people come and take it. The Chinese coming, the Arabs coming, the Indians, they coming and taking everything. It's like less than 15% of the beaches you can access that are free. Now everywhere you go, pretty much you gotta pay to get on a beach. That's insane. Like if you're Caribbean, that's your birthright. That's your land. Like so I just want to give a shout out, to the potential that we have as Black people to go back, even if you're not native to the Caribbean, even if you just Black, you just want to go back, you want to, give back to the land because it's so much value. Like they got and I know this from time, but they got fruit falling off the trees, free fruit. Ain't no pesticides, ain't no I find so much value in that. That's just amazing to me because you ain't getting that in the States. You for damn sure not getting that in the States. What? Free fruit off the tree? They're gonna cut that tree down. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that the water, bro, I'm telling you. I'm like, bro, if I could be here, I would be here. I would stay here. This is great. But again, they do face challenges, but it's challenges that we should be willing to accept, and we should be willing to try to work out. So I mean, more power to the Caribbean because wonderful place, great potential. We just need like mind. We just need a like mind as a people.
I appreciate it, my man. Yeah, the Caribbean, man. Big shout out to them. Big shout out to them. In the chat, Lord of Slaughter says, I'm shouting out that Fong sister in the video. And then Lord of Slaughter's upset. Put that video back on. All right, just for you. I love it. I love it. Remember, I'm here because of you guys. I'm not here because of anything else. So hopefully she ends up, and who knows? Maybe, just maybe, Lord of Slaughter, you use your detective work to find out her social media. And Lord of Slaughter adds, I agree. Quality of life is better than trinkets. Man, absolutely. Trigger Happy says, shouts out to the African teams in the World Cup making it through to the knockout stages. DR Congo were exceptional. Same with Senegal. Shouts out to the Sahel Alliance, the AES, for cutting ties with France diplomatically, as well as, if you guys didn't get to hear, Niger and the rest of the Sahel countries officially submitted their request to exit the ICC, the International Court of Justice. But more on that a little bit. Brother Bakari, if you're back on, not answering phone calls, what shouts out do you have?
I want to give out a shout out to all the Black African nations over that made the round of 32. Are we still boycotting? Are we still boycotting South Africa because they one of them? But they're one of the teams that made it. Are we still against? Are they still against South Africa, man? Let me know something, But that's my shout out. And shout out to you, Jackadero. You do a good job, man. You do a damn good job when you come on. And and shout out to everybody on the panel. Alma, she came up. Black Steel, man. Me and Black Steel ain't had no good debate in a while, man. I don't think you was around when me and Black Steel used to go at it. I'm trying to figure out a way to go back to get it. But you know what? That's my shout out, man. I enjoyed the live for the time that I was here. It was good, even though I may have not been on the panel. I was still listening. So, man, I appreciate the chat and the panel. Peace.
We appreciate you, Brother Bakari. Anthony, what shouts out do you got for this week?
Oh, all right, man. I want to give a shout out to you, Jackadero, man. You're doing a great job, man. At Coco's spot, man. Everything. And shout out to everybody on the panel, man. To the sisters and everybody. And and my team kind of they had a setback today, man. The Ghana Black Stars, but they still in the running though. But yeah, we had a setback today, but big up to the Ghana Black Stars, man. We still rolling with them though. And man, you know what? I ain't gonna fake the funk, man. I'm for the South African soccer team, man. I want them to go as far as they could go, man. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna hold what's happening back there, you know, against them, man. You know, I want them to do good. And shout out to Mississippi for being the second home of the blues and the black culture, man. You know, big ups to Bakari and the Mississippi folks, man. Louisiana.
Appreciate appreciate that, and I knew it was coming. I was like, damn, I forgot to get him.
You guys are hilarious, man. Man, my shout outs. Let's start with, and this goes more on a message as well, but the shout out to the Supreme Court justices who did everything that they could to try to keep TPS, the temporary protected status. Whether or not you agree that Haitians should leave or go, the fact that did they even have a fighting chance? That's the biggest thing. Did they even have a fighting chance? Again, people are about to be sent back to a place that you have a government overthrow happening within our eyes. And again, you know, some people can say, oh, this is just anarchy. And some people will look at it and say, hey, that's an attempt to change the government. But nonetheless, Haiti did have their president assassinated by American citizens. So a whole power vacuum has opened up, and now people are trying to take advantage. So this is why voting is important. So shout out to each and everybody who has registered to vote. If you're in the United States, the least that you can do, if you don't want to join a black organization, if you don't want to do anything else, the least that you could do is vote. If you want to vote, please vote. It changes more than what you think. It's not just about the president of the United States. It's a whole bunch of, it's your representatives from your district, it's your Senate, it's your governors, it's your city council. Oh man, especially the city that you live in. I mean, you pay it. If you're living in the United States, you pay taxes, presumably. Your city council has a lot to do with that. And each city council has a district that they're in charge of. I can't emphasize this enough. Second shout out, Koku. I mean, without Koku, without you guys, man, I'm not even here. So as far as hosting Shoot the Breeze. So big shout out to Koku. And then last but not least, man, you guys already know. If you don't already know, come on now. I am Jacadero, proudly of Omaha, Nebraska, home of the Empowerment Network, the strongest team in the Midwest. Man, we're a black organization, and we partner up with sister cities like Tulsa, Oklahoma, Kansas City, Missouri, East Lansing, Michigan, Memphis, Tennessee, and everything outside and in between. But what is the Empowerment Network? I mean, we empower you, whether you're HVAC, real estate, finance, AI, fintech, name it. Every year we hold the Rebuilding a Village Conference every May. You might have missed this one. Don't miss the next one, next May. In the meantime, we have partnerships and we have collaborations going on each and every week, believe it or not. One of them being a mentor program, the Step Up program, where we have black men and women that mentor high school students, black high school students, African high school students, believe it or not, 6%. I have the data. Ask me. I know 6% of those students are of either African immigrant households or African immigrant themselves. So we don't just talk, we put our money where our mouth is, And we talking about big money too. Big money, We got, I mean, we can claim it. We can claim it now. We got the first black mayor elected last year. Mr. John Ewing Jr. So, I mean, come on. If you're in Omaha, Nebraska, or if you are in any of those sister cities and you want to be a part of it, visit the website, www.empoweromaha.com, the official website of the strongest black empowerment group here in the Midwest. And it's a new revived website. Man, come on now. Human beings are about visuals first, right? First and foremost, we got the visuals, a new website. So get involved. And again, Rebuilding the Village Conference, get involved, man. Come on now. If you can't belong to any other black organization, be a part of this, the Empowerment Network. With that being said, let me go ahead and get out of here. Lord of Slaughter says RBG and Land of Crawford. Yeah, you already know the champ, undefeated. All right, with that being said, I'm Jacadero, proudly filling in for Brother Koku here on Shoot the Breeze episode 247 on the Bitter Medicine Podcast. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast with your host, Koku. If you like what you just heard, we hope you pass along our web address, bittermedicineblogs.com, to your friends and colleagues, and share our show to all your social media. Be sure to check out our archive section on our website for previous podcasts. This has been a KWAZ radio production. Join us next time for another session of the Bitter Medicine Podcast. Follow us on Facebook at Bitter Medicine Show, Twitter, Bitter Meds, Tumblr, Bitter Meds, Instagram, Bitter Medicine.